Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk on a Tuesday afternoon. Greetings and salutations. Thanks for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And hello to everyone who can see our fresh, bushy-tailed faces on the YouTube stream, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News.
You have a tail, bro?
That was a mixed metaphor, is what we're going to call that. You know, this saying bright-eyed and bushy-tailed?
Yeah.
Mixed my metaphor is what I did there. Just a tad.
It happens.
Just a little bit of awkwardness to start our Tuesday. We're with you for the next 3 hours here on 580 Sports Talk. At 6 o'clock, we'll pass the baton to the Royals Baseball Network as the hottest team in baseball looks to stay that way. Royals winners last night over the White Sox, 3-0 in Game 1 of a 4-game AL Central Series at the K. Game number 2 tonight, Seth Lugo on the bump, 6:40 first pitch at Kauffman Stadium. And again, the pregame coverage will start promptly at 6 p.m. Up until then, we've got 3 hours of 580 Sports Talk to bring you. I'm Dan Lucero. Brendan Dworzinski is here. Spencer Dupuis will be along in a bit. We're jam-packed today, and we are appreciative that you are with us for this edition of 580 Sports Talk. Going to talk some Royals baseball today, obviously, coming off of their 5th shutout in their last 12 wins. A 3-0 triumph over the White Sox last night. Cole Ragans not efficient, but dominant. Some eye-popping numbers from Cole Ragans in the start to this season as he is pitching at a Cy Young level when he has been healthy this season. We throw that Colorado start out. Clearly he wasn't right. He comes back from that injury and only having missed one start with a vengeance. 5 shutout innings with 11 Ks last night. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about the continued heroics, the unlikely heroics of Maikel Garcia and Drew Waters, both of whom drove in runs in the Royals' offensive attack last night. Bobby Witt Jr. drove in the other, but we expect that from him. Garcia and Waters floating the bottom of the offense. Pun absolutely not intended. I didn't realize I was going to be making one until it came out of my mouth. But we'll talk about how important that has been for the Royals.
I believe it's the hair for Drew Waters. I think growing his hair out has changed things. It's given him power. It's given him confidence.
He's like Samson.
He's Samson, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I could see that. It's as good an explanation as any for a guy who, again, we were talking about this yesterday. We had forgotten about him. Like, we talk about, oh, he's the forgotten man. Drew Waters really was. When we talked about what is the outfield mix going to look like for the Royals, Drew Waters was the, oh, yeah, he's still here.
I'm pretty sure I straight up said I don't even want to talk about him. I was ready because
what was there to say? Like there's a track record of not having been successful at the major league level when given opportunities, but he's only 26 and here he is having success and doing so in a way that suggests that this is a little bit more sustainable than a purely batting average on balls in play driven hot streak. Like, remember when Nick Prado had one of those a couple of years ago?
Oh, yeah. He was at a batting average on balls in play up near 500.
Yeah, he came up scalding hot, but either he was getting a hit or he was striking out. And it wasn't sustainable. And we said, this doesn't look sustainable. And it wasn't sustainable. And Nick Prado is not somebody who you're probably going to talk about in relation to the future of the Kansas City Royals. But a little bit more sustainable feeling from Drew Waters. So we'll talk about that offense and also ask a question based on last night. And you can't do it every night against every pitcher, against every catcher, but the Royals seem to be finding their running legs. Do they need to be more of a running club this season? We'll get into that as well. Plus, in case you missed it this afternoon, maybe you were hanging out at your desk, or maybe you were at home and just chilling and wanted to put some baseball on TV. No midday, early afternoon games across Major League Baseball on this Tuesday. There's a doubleheader somewhere today. Somebody got washed out last night. They're playing a doubleheader tonight. No idea who that was.
Guards Nats.
Thank you.
That's where Spencer is. He's watching the Nationals right now.
Yes, that is. He's dialed in on the Nats. Anyhow,
advanced scouting game too. Gets to look at a divisional foe for the Royals.
Exactly.
Kill 2 birds with one stone.
Using the old noodle. So back to my point. There was no Major League Baseball early afternoon. But there was some minor league baseball on TV for free. Now you have to pay for MLB TV or MILB TV, but the free game of the day, free minor league game of the day, was the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, the AA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals, taking on the Wichita Wind Surge in some Texas League action. And if you turn that game on today, you saw not one, but two big flies. Jack Caglione. Holy moly, is he on fire? We'll talk about Cags a little bit later on in the show. I tried to temper expectations, but again, this is kind of what beating down the door looks like for last year's first-round pick. We'll also preview tonight's game. Royals sending Seth Lugo to the mound against Sean Burke, the starting pitcher for the White Sox tonight. We'll get into some football as well. We had Matt Verderame, our NFL insider, on the show yesterday, and I asked him who among the AFC contenders has had the best offseason. And he said it was the Chiefs. So we're going to debate it ourselves. We're going to look at the contender class in the AFC and try to decide ourselves who had the best offseason to date. Because, again, most of the big furniture has been moved, right? Like, there's not a whole lot that's still on the free agent market that is going to dramatically shift the fortunes of a team at this point. Those kinds of moves, if they were there to be made, have already been made. And the draft is in the books. So who's had the best offseason? And did anybody in the AFC get substantially better this offseason to feel like they have joined the tier of contenders in the conference? We'll get into that. We're also going to talk some KU today. It is a Tuesday after all, so Maikel Swain's lined up to join us at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour for Jayhawk Weekly. Maikel Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. We'll ask him about the changes on the KU basketball coaching staff expected with the retirement of Norm Roberts. Some changes, promotions on the KU coaching staff, some opportunities for some former KU football players at mini camps, and some other things as well. That's all coming up with Maikel Swain of Fog.net at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. And also, did you guys know there's a mascot Hall of Fame? Because there's a mascot Hall of Fame. And now that I know it exists, it's all I want to talk about. So we're going to get into that a little bit later on in the show, too, just for kicks.
I can't believe it. It must be fairly new. Like a couple a year, 2 to 4 a year. I'm surprised by some of the ones that are in. Not some of them. I mean, there's some classics in there, obviously. I saw the list of nominees, and I thought, how are some of these nominated, and yet some all-time great mascots are not only not nominated, but not already in the hall? So we're going to get to the class of potential inductees, the nominees, if you will, in the 5 o'clock hour today. I'm very excited about it.
It's a strong class. It's a little bit like the NFL. I mean, you look up and down and think, man, how am I supposed to pare this down to 4?
Right.
It's a very strong class. But now we'll have some fun with that. Plus all the other things you come to know and love from a Tuesday edition of 580 Sports Talk. We will have our 580 Sports Talk headlines at 5 o'clock, plus the playoff roundup. We'll have 2 new stories on what is wrong with you. We got Random Question Tuesday coming up later this hour. And more. Plus your interaction with the program. Hit us up on the text line, 785-272-9429 is that number, 785-272-9429. You can also get at us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. If you are watching along on YouTube, the name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Jump on in, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. We'd love to see that. And you can, if you were logged in on Google, YouTube, you can interact with us, and you can interact with your fellow listeners throughout the show. A hearty good afternoon to Jeffrey, Christopher, our guy Gonzo's in, and we'll see some more folks throughout the show as well. We appreciate you being along for the ride, however you're consuming the program today. Thanks for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. Royals now have won 12 of 14, 3-0 last night over the White Sox. Cole Ragans with 11 strikeouts in 5 innings. The White Sox hit like 20-some foul balls. Like, I couldn't find the number again last night, but it was a stupid number of foul balls. And that's why Cole Ragans exited last night's game after just 5 innings. Because credit to the White Sox, they were able to run up his pitch count. And that is some of Ragans coming back from 9 days off a big league mound.
Yep.
And maybe not being quite as sharp as he could have been He also struck out 11 guys. He had the really good changeup last night. He was painting with the cutter, got a couple of called strike threes with the backdoor cutter to right-handers. And then when the right-handers started looking changeup when they would get behind in counts, he was elevating with 96 up on the hands and getting some swings and misses on that as well. So far this season, Cole Ragans with 57 strikeouts. That is, I believe, tied for at least the American League lead. I'm going to go find out if that is the Major League lead as well. He leads the league in strikeouts per 9 innings. 14.4 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Pretty good.
That's outrageously good. He is tied for the American League lead, trailing Washington's Mackenzie Gore for the lead across Major League Baseball. Gore with 68 strikeouts. Ragans and Carlos Rodon of the Yankees tied with 57, leading the American League. Zach Wheeler's also got 57 for the Phillies. Last year, Ragans struck out 223 batters in his 186 and a third innings. That's just shy of 11 strikeouts per 9. And strikeouts per 9 is a good metric. You'd like to see that. Typically, if you can strike out 9, 10 guys per 9, that's elite territory, particularly for a starting pitcher.
Oh, yeah.
That's big-time stuff. Strikeout percentage or strikeout rate is a little bit more predictive because, like, let's say you're, I don't know, let's make up a name of a pitcher who stinks. Chris Stratton. Let's say you're Chris Stratton.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you strike out the side. That's 27 That's 27 Ks per 9. But what if you give up like 3 doubles and a home run in that same inning? Did you have a good inning?
No.
You struck out 3 guys. That was great. But you gave up a lot of loud contact in there. So your strikeout rate can look good without you. Like, it shows you have the ability to get strikeouts, but it doesn't necessarily tell you that you're being dominant on a batter over batter basis. Strikeout rate, which is a percentage of batters that you strike out, is a little bit more revealing in that sense. Last season, Cole Ragans struck out 29% of the batters he faced. It was 29% just on the other side, 28.8% in his debut year with the Royals, split with the Rangers. And last year, he bumped it to 29.3%. That obviously, with the strikeout rate that the strikeout per 9 rate that he carried, that's, again, elite, top of the pops type stuff. So far this year, Ragans is striking out 38.5% of batters he has faced. And most impressive of all, he is striking out 43% of right-handed hitters.
The old reverse split.
Teams across baseball are going to be prone to loading their lineup with right-handed bats against a left-handed pitcher. It's what you do. And Cole Ragans is ripping through right-handers like a buzzsaw. The only reason right-handers have done any real damage to him on the scorecard is because their batting average on balls in play against him is an unsustainable over 400. He is carving people up, and it's his ability to do it to right-handers that makes him really special. That's the thing that separates Ragans from just the really good, like the solid top of the rotation pitchers. His dominance of opposite hand hitters is what takes him into ace and Cy Young candidate territory.
The word dominance, I think, is also important here because, like, yeah, you can win a lot of games and put up good numbers and, like, oh, yeah, that dude had a dominant year. But there's also just overpowering dudes regularly. And look, the White Sox lineup stinks. That's a bad team. They had won a few games recently. That's not a good baseball team. Cole Ragans, in only 5 innings, dominated them yesterday. Even having to labor a little bit because of all the foul balls and getting the pitch count up a little bit through 5 innings, he was overpowering to that team. And the ability, like, it's not like, oh, yeah, he's killing righties, but lefties are mashing against him, and he's got this bizarro, wacky reverse split. No, he's actually striking out over a quarter of all lefties that he faces as well. Like, he's got great numbers against left-handers. He's just otherworldly against guys who theoretically should have the platoon advantage. The guys who, supposedly you see the ball better coming out of the hand of someone who throws the opposite way from where you bat, right? Not working like that for opponents of the Royals so far this year. Cole Ragans is among the best pitchers in all of baseball, and certainly in the American League. I know the Royals have issues, okay? And over the years, nobody has been more willing to jump in and say, hey, by the way, look at this Royals problem than me. However, if you wanted to sell yourself on the future for this team, even with the concerns with how the roster is constructed this year, offense went through that prolonged slump through the first month of the season, etc. You've got a top 3 player in all of baseball. You've got a top 10, if not top 5, starting pitcher in all of baseball. And you've got a top 15 to top 20 prospect in all of baseball who the fans are dying to see make it up. And again, we'll talk about Cags in a little bit. Like, you want to talk about the future of your team? It is set with one guaranteed superstar, one dude whose jersey would be everywhere if he didn't play in Kansas City. And that's not a shot at Kansas City and the Royals. Like, it's a small market. If Cole Ragans was a Yankee, you would not be able to escape him. Would not be able to. And again, Caglione, if he is anything like what he's been doing in the minors, he's going to be a superstar as well. Like, this core is going to be really, really good. And again, you can have a really good, bona fide number 1 pitcher be like, yeah, that dude is really good. My favorite team, the Cubs, have a pitcher who's, I think, a little behind the curve of like the elite of the elite. I like Justin Steele a lot. He's out for the year. He's got an elbow injury, but he's a really good starting pitcher, like a bona fide number 1. And then you get the dudes like Scooble, like healthy Garrett Cole, like what we are seeing from Cole Ragans so far this year, who just overpower guys at the plate completely every single game. We were talking yesterday about wanting, somewhat facetiously, but a serious note about wanting starters to go longer because those are the names on the marquee. You say, God, I might not only be able to catch one game this week because I got a busy week with the kids and with other stuff and work and all that. When's Ragans pitching? Those are the kind of guys you want to see go deep into games, have their name on the marquee, be put on national cable broadcasts, whatever. And Cole Ragans right now is one of those guys that cannot miss TV. And there aren't many of them. Like, again, Justin Steele, when he's healthy, really good pitcher. The baseball world is like diehards, like, oh yeah, I got to see Steele. But like, you're pretty big baseball fans, like, oh yeah, I've heard of him. Like, he's pretty good. Cole Ragans should be in the group of we have to tune into this game. Like, oh, that game's on tonight. I have to watch Cole Ragans pitch.
How many starting pitchers right now, Major League Baseball, are you taking ahead of Cole Ragans?
I would take Scooble. I think Scooble's up there.
Start the list with him.
And he's a monster. He's awesome.
Yeah. And maybe a better question is, how many of those guys, if you threw him into, like, if you threw every starting pitcher into a pot and had to redraft right now, how many pitchers are getting taken ahead of Cole Ragans just entering his prime? Because, like, okay, yeah, for this year, like, can you argue, oh, yeah, I mean, Chris Sale, Zach Wheeler, like, you know, Sale on the side last year. Wheeler's off to a great start. Mentioned Rodon off to a great start. Max Fried's pitching really well for the Yanks. There are, you know, Garrett Crochet in Boston is outstanding. There are a lot of good pitchers out there. Controversial take, I know, but a lot of good pitchers out there.
Shout out to my guy Logan Gilbert. He's been great so far this year. No, I mean, I think all those guys you listed, and the older ones too, like, you know, Chris Sale of the mid 2010s. Sure, I mean, he was one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. It's amazing it took him so long to win a Cy Young, but the injuries and everything else and the age, like, you don't trust that. If you were doing a redraft, if you're doing a fantasy draft for an actual major league team of pitchers, I don't think Cole Ragans goes any later than like the 4th pitcher taken at worst. I really would. What is he, 26, 27?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, no, I'm putting him in a category with Scooble, who's still pretty young. Again, I'm a huge...
This is his age 27 season.
Yeah,
so.
I'm a huge Logan Gilbert fan. I'd put him in or near that category. There aren't many others. There are not many other dudes I would put in that group.
Here, the guys I would take ahead of Ragans: Tarek, Scooble, Paul Skeens. I think that's the list.
I'd put Skeens too. I think he's great.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. That's the list. Honest to goodness, I think that's the list. I think that's it. Like, I'm sure if you root for a different team, you can argue for Zach Wheeler and his career of excellence. You could argue for Max Fried, who's making a lot of money and has a 1.01 ERA through his first 7 starts for the Yankees.
That's right.
Yeah, that's been pretty good. Crochet's great. Logan Webb's a workhorse for the Giants. Hunter Green's pitching excellently for the Reds. Like, there are lot of guys out there are really good, but Ragans is the kind of horse that you drags your wagon to the playoffs. Like, you get behind that guy.
Think about it this way, too. Another way to put it. For pitchers, what is the ultimate goal in modern 2025 baseball for pitchers? Throw the ball as hard as you possibly can, right? Like, get to 100. Strike dudes out. That is the goal for pitching, generally speaking. Not just get dudes out, strike dudes out. Overpower them with your velocity, with your stuff, etc. Cole Ragans, again, leads all of baseball in strikeouts per 9. 43% of right-handed batters, which is the vast majority of guys who face him, are striking out against him. Like, that's what we're talking about here. In an era in which that's what you're trying to do all the time, Cole Ragans is doing it more than anyone else. That should count for something. And yeah, you want to talk about Ragans being tied for the AL lead in strikeouts, not overall because the National League players got the lead. He missed the start.
He did.
Let's not forget, he missed last week. You could very easily add anywhere from 7 to 11 more onto that total, and no one would bat an eye.
Yeah, he's 79th in Major League Baseball in innings pitched, and he is tied for second in strikeouts.
That was a Piccolo move, right? The Chapman trade?
Yes, Chapman. Aroldis Chapman. And my goodness, did we say bad things, mean things, and I think in some ways justifiably mean things about the Royals signing Aroldis Chapman. But that's like good process for a lousy team. Pay for a free agent reliever with a track record, get a couple of good months out of him, and get yourself a lottery ticket. And when they made that trade, I ripped the trade because it felt like a piece with all of those deals that Dayton Moore made when they dealt Moustakas and they got Jorge Lopez and Brett Phillips. And like, they got guys who were at AAA and had debuted in the major leagues, and the thought process is, well, I know what the floor is. There's a really high floor here, but you've already started to see with their exposure to the major leagues, the ceiling's not very high.
Right.
So when they went out and got Cole Ragans, I was critical. I said, this feels like the same kind of thing where we know that the floor is a big leaguer. He could pitch in the big leagues tomorrow, but how high is the ceiling? I didn't know it was this.
Well, I very vividly remember you and Fulton specifically being like, hey, I mean, Ragans is the most talented guy here, but he's had Tommy John twice.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge risk.
Like, you knew that at one time there was ceiling, but the other thing, too, that was year one of Brian Sweeney and Matt Quatrero and the new way that the Royals are going about developing pitchers. And they didn't have a level of equity when it came to being able to turn a guy around and develop a guy who was that close and had already been to the major leagues. They didn't have that kind of equity, and I think that's understandable. And, well, Cole Ragans is now Exhibit A. Like, hey, are you a pitcher at a crossroads? Are you a post-hype prospect? Are you somebody with some talent, but you haven't gotten all the way there in your major league career? The Royals can develop you. The Royals might even be able to fix you. And not everybody's going to turn into what Cole Ragans has turned into, but the fact that they've turned Cole Ragans into Cole Ragans bodes so well for the future of the organization, because pitchers and pitcher development, it is gold. It is worth its weight in gold. And if you can, as a small market team, develop your own guys and have 6 years of quality starting pitching under team control, 3 years pre-arb, 3 years arbitration, that's how you contend year over year over year. That's how you become the Brewers. That's how you become the Guardians. That's how you set the table for that. That's why it's so promising that the Royals have been able to do this with a guy like Cole Ragans.
I will add this really quickly. It is very funny to me that Aroldis Chapman has essentially been involved in the exact same trade twice. At different parts of his career and for different roles, but 2016, Cubs needed a closer. That was the one thing that the Cubs were missing. They had to get a closer. And they moved the number one prospect in baseball, Gleyber Torres at the time, for a closer for half a season. And he came in and was really good until the 9th inning of Game 7 of the World Series. And it was a win-win for everybody. Cubs got their piece. They got the World Series. Yankees got the number one prospect in baseball. 2 years ago, the Rangers needed relief pitcher help. And granted, Cole Ragans, not the kind of prospect that Gleyber Torres was, but moved him at one point, a very promising prospect. Was he a first-round pick?
Yes.
That's what I thought. At one point, high ceiling, well-regarded prospect, got their relief pitcher, got the help they needed, won the World Series.
Yes,
the
did.
Royals got an ace. It worked out for one player being involved in two different World Series altering win-win trades. Yeah. I'm not sure it's ever happened before.
No,
I'm really not.
Yeah, pretty fascinating for sure. We'll take our first break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, Cags go boom, and then he go boom again. And that boom might be him knocking down the door even faster than the most optimistic Royals fan could have hoped for. We'll tell you what he did today and talk about it next as we keep rolling. Just getting started on 580 Sports Talk. Jack Caglione homered twice this afternoon in a 5-4 win for the Northwest Arkansas Naturals over the Wichita Wind Surge. Did you see the home runs on video, Brendan?
Tanks. Just rockets.
See, I don't know that they were hit as hard as he can hit them. Like, we've seen him hit like 115 off the bat, 115 miles an hour. The first one I thought he caught off the end of the bat and just happened to backspin it out of the park to left field, the opposite field. The second one I thought he fouled off and way gone down the left field line. Like,
now, how much of that was the actual contact and how much of that was AA level cameras?
Probably the cameras had a little something to do with it. Yeah, it's the minor leagues for everybody. With those two home runs, part of a 3-for-4 afternoon, Jack Caglione now hitting in his first 28 AA games. 330 with a 406 on base and a 606 slugging percentage. That's an OPS over 1,000. 8 home runs to go with 6 doubles. He is pounding the door down, and the Royals know it because they are already beginning the transition for Caglione from first base to right field. Because where do the Royals need help? Desperately right now at the big club.
The corners, right field, yeah.
So Caglione has already begun that transition, and the idea was to bring that along slowly, and understandably so, right? Hey, this is his first taste of AA. It's a big jump. AA anymore is really the big litmus test for a prospect. If you can go do damage at AA, you're probably going to be a pretty good big leaguer.
Because everyone does damage in AAA.
Yeah, AAA is arena baseball, and a lot of like unserious, like not real prospects end up at AAA. It's a lot of hangers on, and like the real proving ground anymore is AA. So I understand. Like, okay, this is his first exposure to AA. He's only had half a ball before that. Let's bring him along slowly. Let's not put any big expectations on him. Because if we put him in the corners right away, people are going to start saying, okay, when's he getting to the bigs? Mm-hmm. When's he coming to the bigs? And that's not something you want to put on a guy to have him be looked at as, oh, he's going to be the savior. He's going to save this offense. Well, it hasn't been too much for him to handle from an offensive perspective. So now they're putting the defensive stuff on his plate, working with old Rusty Kuntz, figuring out the finer points of outfield defense. And I tried to temper expectations for Caglione myself because a lot of you listeners asked before the season, when's Cags coming up? When is he going to be on the team? He had a nice showing in spring training, hit a couple of home runs. Yeah, put him in right field on opening day. Not so fast. Pull the reins in a little bit. He's got to prove he can handle the minor leagues. He's never played a full season of professional baseball. Let's see him do that before we anoint him. Well, it's getting really hard not to look at him as a solution for an obvious Royals problem at the big league level because he is doing all of the things you would want a guy to do to break the door down. He's not striking out at a problematic rate. It's a little high, 25-ish% strikeout rate, a little high, but not like troublingly high. There are some walks in there, but it's the power. The power is real, and it's game power that he's getting to. It's not 530 power under the cages. This is real game power. He knows how to drive the ball out to the opposite field. He knows how to backspin it. It is a feel to hit for power that nobody on the current Royals team really has.
I believe, if my numbers here are correct, he's at about right at 24% strikeout rate, which, look, man, if you're going to mash like that, I can live with 24%. I'm okay with that.
Like I've always said, like in the major leagues, like 30% is the threshold, where if you're going to strike out 30% of the time, you ever do some damage in the other 70% of the at-bats. Jack Caglione looks like he might be the kind of guy that can do enough damage to offset a strikeout rate that might be on the high side.
So is an OPS of over 1,000 good?
Yes. Okay. I can confirm that. Yes.
Yes. So I've
done the back of the napkin math on that, and it is good.
What about a slugging percentage over 1,000? Is that good?
It's unheard of.
That is what he is doing in the month of May. We're only 6 days in. Yes, I understand that. There have been 6 games for the Naturals in the month of May. They put a doubleheader on one day against Springfield. He's batting .476 with a .542 on base and a slug of over 1,000. I know it's 6 games. He is on a tear right now. He is crushing the baseball. And maybe most importantly, in that stretch, 6 games, just 6 strikeouts. Compared to, what is it in total number of at-bats? Out of 21, it's not perfect, but it's not terrible. You can certainly live with those kind of numbers.
Again, if you're doing damage.
Yes, and he is. Yes, he is crushing it. I think we all knew, like you said, you couldn't do it right away because that was just going to make the voices and the cries and the calls even louder. But we knew there was going to be a transition. And shoot, look, if Jack Caglione can be RF/1B for his career as his position, great, awesome. You've got someone who can play at 2 different spots plus DH. You're set, golden. Maybe he'll be a permanent right fielder at some point, as long as he's not like young MJ Melendez in the field or current Hunter Renfroe in the field. You're going to be fine with that. I still don't think he will be anything more than a September call-up this year, because I think it is in the Royals' best interest, even if they believe they can make a playoff run this season, to slow play this, not to a contract manipulation degree, but just to we want to make sure that this guy is cornerstone number 2 among our position players for the long term next to Bobby Witt Jr. We think he can be. Let's not rush him up, because guys do get rushed up, and it can be a problem. It has been problematic for many prospects over the years. Sometimes you can fix it with one more trip to AAA. Sometimes you cannot. So slow playing it, I think, is in the Royals' best interest. Let him kill AA pitching for a while. Fine. Make him force your hand. Make him prove that you are wasting time that he's not in AA. Because I don't think we're at that point. I know it's good to see him crushing this pitching, but I don't think we're at the. If he started the year at Quad Cities, like, okay, we're wasting our time. But we're not at that point yet. No. I think it's okay for the Royals, even with the right field questions, to slow play this, because JJ Piccolo is not just thinking about 25. He's thinking about 25 to infinity.
Yeah. When you get to July 6th and he's still doing this, I think then you have to have the conversation. But that's a ways away. That's 2 months away. And the Royals, again, they're keeping their heads above water without him right now. So don't rush him. Just enjoy the tanks he's hitting down at AA and all the shoddy camera work that comes with it.
A 1,000 slug is crazy, though.
It is crazy.
That's it. Essentially, if you don't, I think everyone has heard of slugging percentage and, big number mean good. It's essentially a measure of how many bases do you get on average per at bat? Because if you hit a home run for that individual at bat, that's a 4,000 slugging percentage, a single 1,000, 2, 3. So if your slugging percentage is over 1,000, that means you are averaging at least one base every single time you come to the plate. That's unbelievable. That is truly ridiculous.
We'll take a break, come back with Random Question Tuesday at 580 Sports Talk. Random Question Tuesday time on 580 Sports Talk. This is inspired by a question I saw in a mailbag column over at Defector today, defector.com. What's the worst? I'm going to stop myself. Spencer Dupuy's in here. Spencer, did you buy CDs? Are you old enough to have bought CDs? Have that be a part of your music buying experience? Or are you strictly MP3 generation?
No, I've had a few in my day. What I used to do back when I first got an iPod, I would go to the library and rent them and upload them onto iTunes. So I would never because I didn't have all that money to buy all the songs, but I have in my day bought a few.
Okay, dude, I'm so happy you had that same memory because I used to go to our library. I'd take my bike. It was like maybe a mile, and I'd ride to the library with a cinch bag backpack, and I'd get like 20 CDs at a time.
The best were now that's what I call if you just wanted to hear
just the one song,
like the good song, like the songs that everybody was listening to. You got now that's what I call music, like 20 at the time. Now it's like 80 zillion.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm so glad we both did that. That's awesome.
That's hysterical. So, okay, I can ask the question then. What's the worst CD you ever bought? You bought it and immediately knew this is a coaster.
Man, I don't know about worst. I mean, I would be probably the generational difference.
Yeah.
Is I never bought a CD that I didn't already know that I wanted.
Exactly. I'm right there with you.
I never showed up at Sam Goody and was like, oh, sweet, meat puppets sounds awesome. I'm going to buy this. If I saw something, I would intentionally go and pick a CD that I wanted.
All right. Yeah. So this is me being washed.
Now,
and being of the generation that, I like this one song, 1999 at the Sam Goody at Park Meadows in Aurora, Colorado. And I'm going to get this CD. And all the 14 other songs on this album are ass.
Yeah, I probably just missed that. My sister who was 6 years older than me, she probably would have had that experience. Mine are more intentional. Now, I did, when I was in high school, we had a half-price books in town.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the one in Lawrence, man. So it was, that was like a hangout, like Friday night in the suburbs. There's not a whole lot to do. You go get Chipotle, and then you go hang out at half-price books. And I would buy records because they were all like $2. And I bought some stinkers there. They either were warped and wet and gross, or they just sucked. Or they were like weird European bands that you had never heard of. I bought some crappy ones of those. But they were usually so bad, and I spent so little on them, I just got rid of them.
I spent $18.99 of American currency on music from the Dimension Motion picture The Faculty because it had that Offspring cover of The Kids Aren't All Right.
Nice.
There's also a cover of the song I'm 18 by Creed on the album, which is...
Wait, Creed covered the Alice Cooper song?
Creed covered the Alice Cooper song.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Soul Asylum covered School's Out. The Stabbing Westward song on here is good, actually. I'm remembering that differently. But, everything on there, the bad stuff is so unlistenable.
So bad.
Also, Primus's Brown album. Absolutely terrible. Shake Hands with Beef is great, and also a really cool fantasy football team name.
That is a good one.
But no, the rest of that album sucks.
I do love Primus. I'm not going to lie. Big fan. I've got one that'll take a little time. Spencer, do you have one?
Yes. What is something that you guys do on trips that you don't normally, while driving, that you normally don't do, around town? For instance, I went to see my buddy in Oklahoma, and I went on SoundCloud, and I like to listen to DJ music mixes.
That's your driving music?
That's hour plus long instead of just listening to song after song after song.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah. What is something you guys do differently on a road trip then?
Spend $4 on gummy candy at a time.
That works, yeah?
Yeah, typically I would just go to the Dollar Tree. But no, gas station prices for Lifesaver gummies.
Yeah. It's outrageous. It is unbelievable.
What do you do?
Upsetting.
I'm trying to think of what I would say I do differently. I'm not sure if there is anything that I do super, super differently. I hold it. I don't want to make more stops than I have to. I'll put myself in a bit of physical stomach pain to avoid taking extra stops. That's probably one. just driving around town, I will get my car down to like 5 miles to empty. Like I will burn through everything but the fumes driving around town.
Risk pulling a Jake LeBon. Yes.
I will not do that while road tripping somewhere. I want to know, okay, there's a gas station within 50 miles. I want at least 50 miles left to go till empty. I've got to be safe there. I do not want to be stranded. So that would be my big difference. If we have a quick moment here, real quick. Today is the anniversary of the greatest game ever pitched. 20 strikeouts for Kerry Wood against the Houston Astros. Literally the highest game score of all time. What is the best performance, individual performance you've seen in person at a sporting event? Doesn't have to be baseball.
The one that jumps out immediately, this would have been 2000 and what year did Mark Pryor break in with the Cubs? 02, 03? Was it 03?
03 was kind of his coming out party. I don't know how much he pitched.
Might have been 02. I think it was rookie Mark Pryor, I want to say. So I think it was either 02 or 03. Anyway, Cubs were in Coors Field to play the Rockies. And in his first 3 at-bats, Sammy Sosa hit 3 progressively longer home runs. I mean, he peaking on Winstrol, of course, but these monstrous home runs to the deepest part of Coors Field, to the point where after the 3rd one, the entire stadium was cheering. I think the Rockies lost 15-1.
I thought this might be your answer.
Did not care. But yeah, the Sammy Sosa hitting consecutive home runs in 3 straight at-bats to start the game. And all of them, in my memory, were like 500 feet or longer. Incredible.
Real quick, what would yours be?
I guess Alex Ovechkin scoring 2 goals and 2 assists.
That's a good one. No, that's a really good one. Man, I've been very fortunate to see a lot of Kansas basketball games. You could name a whole bunch of different dudes. Man, that's tough. I'm actually going to go. I'll go with a different one because I can't pick from the KU options. Aaron Rodgers had a perfect passer rating when I saw him play the Raiders in 2019, was it? I went up to Lambeau. John Gruden was coaching the Raiders, and Aaron Rodgers had a perfect passer rating and 5 touchdowns. It was incredible.
The opposite answer to that question, January 1st, 2012, Tim Tebow went 6 of 22 for 60 yards and an interception against the Chiefs.
That's a hilarious answer, though. I think that's the funniest one.
That game ended 7-3. I believe the leading rusher was Dexter.
Hell yeah.
We'll take a break, come back, wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk next. Apparently, we got to turn on the soccer during this hour break that we're about to take here on 580 Sports Talk. Bonkers Champions League match right now on CBS.
Not an hour break, but for the top of the hour. For
Barca and Inter Milan tied at 3 in the match, tied at 6 on aggregate, so it's going to extra time, it sounds like. Bonkers game in the Champions League. Real footy.
Yeah, man. Those center backs are going brazy. I've never seen such counterattacking in my life. Goalie.
Yeah, we have a listener on the text line on 785 letting us know that game is bonkers as soccer goes.
I said this about hockey a couple weeks ago, and it's the same about soccer, which I've never really been into anyway. I'm at a point in my life where I'm not getting into new sports at this point. Like, if I'm not already into it, I'm not going to get into it.
I'm having to shed sports as an adult with a child. Like, I don't watch as much soccer as I used to, but maybe I'll check this one out during the hour break. We're going to talk about AFC contender off seasons. We'll talk to Maikel Swain of Fog.net next on 580 Sports Talk. Well, let's get it. 580 Sports Talk. Hour number 2. I kind of phrased that like a sentence, like a question there. It kind of came out like the way my inflection there made it sound like a question.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Exactly. It was one of those. Dan Lucero, Brendan Rosinski, Spencer Dupuis, 580 Sports Talk coming at you on this Tuesday on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News.
It's been more than a week since I've watched a Will Ferrell movie. That's a really long time for me.
I've seen a lot of Will Ferrell these days on PayPal advertisements.
Yeah. Those were funny the first
plane.
1,000 times.
He takes over the plane thing.
Yeah. That's enough of that for me. The last one I watched, I wasn't really intently watching, but The Other Guys was on back-to-back nights on cable, I think on FX.
The Other Guys is so good.
Yeah, it's a good
I don't
one.
know that there are, like, you talk about like a top 5 just doubled over in laughter watching a movie scene I've ever been. The Aim for the Bushes with The Rock and Samuel L. and the punchline to that. I mean, I was in physical pain from laughing at that scene.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Also, the yelling at Mark Wahlberg for shooting Derek Jeter.
Yes.
He's a biracial angel. Should have shot A-Rod. That is an all-time comedy classic, The Other Guys.
Man, we've said it many times on this show, but his run in the mid-aughts into 2010.
Insanity run.
From 2003 through 2010, his movies included Elf, Old School, Anchorman, Kicking and Screaming, kid movie more so than anything.
Hey, that movie had Mike Ditka in it.
That's true. Talladega Nights, Semi-Pro, Blades of Glory sucked, but it did have the funny, no one knows what it means, but it's provocative exchange.
Also, Denver, City by the Bay.
Step Brothers, and then The Other Guys.
What a
all
run.
of those movies in a span of 8 years.
Legendary run.
That's insane.
But that, too, is also why he's just kind of chilling, it feels like. Not much acting for him because of what he set himself up for in that time frame.
No, because everything after The Other Guys has also been crap.
That's true.
Although he was in the Lego movie. I did enjoy the first Lego movie quite a bit. Did not see the second one.
Recently had a chance to revisit the outtake of his scene as Ashley Schaefer, the car dealer on Eastbound and Down.
Uh-huh.
Down in my plums. All ripe and juicy. Ready for the farmer's market.
Oh, man. Will Ferrell's great.
One of one.
I should go watch Anchorman. I almost watched a movie last night. I like movies, but I'm usually like, I'd rather watch.
I almost watched a movie last night. It's a very funny phrase.
I'd rather watch a game or whatever, but I think I'm going to start getting into watching really stupid movies.
I do that all the time. That's like, so me and my buddy, whenever we hang out, the guy that I just went to go see, we just sit there and watch stupid movies all day.
Yeah.
And it's like funny. Like we're just, like we're laughing at this dumb stuff and know that it's dumb.
I discovered yesterday that Money Plane is free on Tubi. The movie with
Kelsey Grammer.
Your guy. And Edge from WWE and AEW. Yeah. I think I'm going to watch it. It's free. I remember when it came out, it was $8 to stream on Amazon. And I said, I ain't spending $8 on this. Now that it's free, hell yeah.
God bless you for still having the time to do such a thing, to be able to sit down and say, I'm going to watch something incredibly stupid.
Yeah, well, see, my wife goes to bed very early now. She generally, sometimes she'll stay up a little bit after the baby goes to bed. You know, extra half hour, 20 minutes or so. We'll hang out for a little bit. Stay up and watch. She watched a couple innings of the Cubs game last night with me, which was very nice. But she's out by 9 o'clock. I am not.
Sure.
At 9 o'clock, I usually have at least 5 hours of daytime left in me.
Man, that used to be me.
Yeah,
and I it was hitting my late 30s in addition to becoming a father for the first time.
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling it at the end of these playoff games, man. I watched the Nuggets game last night. That wrapped up at around 11:30 because the final 2 minutes took 2 hours. But very long end game. We'll get to that in the playoff roundup, of course. But that's my, if I'm staying up late, it's to do that. And then by the end of the game, I'm like, I'm going to watch Inside. I'm going to watch the highlights. And then 11:45 rolls around and I'm like, oh man, eyelids are getting heavy. And I know I'm going to be paying for this tomorrow. And if I say one word about it, my wife's going to give me grief and I will deserve it. So for me, I'm just better off saying, you know what? If there's not a game on tonight, let me just hit this hay about 10:30.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
Getting into washness, and I hate it. I miss being a night owl. I miss being able to stay up and like run like
it's pretty sick,
PS5 or comb the streaming sites for dumb stuff to watch. Yeah, I miss that. I miss that point in my life, but to everything a season.
I still enjoy being up really late. Although I did for the first time a week or so ago, I was like, man, I'm old, because I woke up and I was like, man, my back's tight.
Yeah, that's the first sign.
Yeah.
That's the first time, because you just turned 30, right? Like, or
yes,
but you are 30.
Yes, I will turn 31 in birthday month this year, September.
Okay.
Yours is November?
December.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the first time. I was picking up my kid one day. I was like, ooh, I got to do that differently. So I'm not kidding. I've started doing a very brief series of yoga stretches when I wake up in the morning.
I don't blame you.
Couple sun salutations, little downward dog.
I need to get into that, because I went and hit golf balls. I went up to Top City Golf North, the Top Tracer. Got my golf on Sunday afternoon, and I noticed on Monday I was walking different. Like I was a little tight, little hammy was a little tight, collapsing a lot of weight onto my lead leg, and my right leg. I noticed I was walking different. I'm like, man, this is. I mean, I know I haven't swung a club in a while, but it shouldn't be this.
Dude, let me tell you, there was a day last summer. I didn't have any sales calls to go do. Show was all set. I think the Royals were playing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the cages.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to get a few swings in.
Yeah, get some hacks.
Bad idea not stretching before that, because I had not swung a bat faster than like a little, let's get the guys together, play a little slow pitch in years. I was like, oh yeah, I can do 50. No, wrong. I could not.
No.
Oh man, that hurt. That hurt the back quite a bit. So now I got to do some intensive stretching before I hit the cages.
Yeah, we got to get into some stretching routines. It happens to all of us. One day it'll happen to you, youngster. Spencer, it'll happen to you.
And the thing is, like, if that's what it takes to be like skinny and flexible my whole life, fine, I'll do it. I don't care.
I've never been either of those things. I've always been stocky and hardly mobile. So
man.
There's no footage out there of me running, and that's for the best.
That's fair.
Yeah, have you seen Vinny Pasquantino run?
Hey, I saw him make one of the most athletic plays of the year last night.
Hey, look,
that was awesome.
Speaking of that play, did you see Aaron Rodgers talk to him afterwards? And I guess a play that he missed either last year or the year
2 years ago
was been like stuck in his head, and he said, I can't ever let that happen again.
Stuck with him.
Looked like a three-legged gazelle, but he got to the ball.
Yeah. He got there.
Daniel Lynch made a great play on the backside of that, getting over to cover first. That was a huge play in that Royals win last night. We'll talk some more baseball a little bit later on in the program. Coming up bottom of this hour, we got Maikel Swain joining us from Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network for Jayhawk Weekly. Looking forward to talking to Maikel. Plenty to gnaw on with him from the world of KU, even though spring practice is done. But we've got some changes on the football staff, changes on the basketball staff, the retirement of Norm Roberts.
A bizarre transfer destination in fact, two intriguing transfer destinations for a couple guys who left after spring practice.
So looking forward to having Maikel Swain on the show. We got What Is Wrong With You coming up in a little bit. Want to hear from you. You can just trade Will Ferrell movie quotes in the YouTube chat. Some of us
please.
Yes, some people are doing that. Just post your best ones on the YouTube chat right now if you are watching on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Or text them. Text the show. Text 785-272-9429.
I don't think I can say any of the lines from the scene in Anchorman where he and Veronica are fighting in the newsroom.
No, I don't think you can. I do not think you can.
You're a smelly pirate hooker.
Yeah, you can say that.
I can say that one.
Yeah, you can get it.
I can't say the island that she supposedly lived on, but
I believe.
Oh man,
I believe it means an old wooden ship.
Oh God, that movie is too good.
All-time classic. Anyway, we appreciate you being along for 580 Sports Talk. What I did want to talk about this hour, we had Matt Verderam on the program yesterday. If you missed that, our video archive is up on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, or you can Check out the podcast every day, hour-by-hour breakdowns of the show on our website, 580wibw.com, and on Spotify, searching for 580 Sports Talk. We have Matt Verderam on every Monday, our NFL insider, and I asked him who had the best offseason of any of the AFC contenders. And he said, first of all, that he still only believes there are 3 teams in the AFC that can win a Super Bowl, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens. He said he believed the Chiefs had the best offseason so far of the 3 teams. So I thought I would dig in on that a little bit. The Bills this offseason, a lot of their real big business was keeping their own guys. Josh Allen got a big payday. They extended Khalil Shakir. They extended Terrell Bernard and Christian Benford, and they re-signed Greg Rousseau. Like crucial pieces of their teams from the last couple of years that are going to be hanging around for a while. Plus, of course, the second best quarterback in the NFL. They signed a bunch of guys. A couple of guys probably a little past their prime, Joey Bosa and Trey White. They added to the wide receiver room, though how much they added is apparently a matter of such contention that their general manager is calling sports talk shows in Buffalo to defend his record on the matter.
That was hilarious.
Wild.
Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore signed as free agents to add to the wide receiver room. They also picked up a couple of intriguing guys on defense. Larry Ogunjobi, who's had a nice career as a defensive tackle, and Maikel Hecht, who is a kind of a jack of all trades type of linebacker with the Rams.
Very unique player. There aren't many guys like he's probably the best coverage edge guy in the league, which is a bizarre trait. And he's not like, I don't even think he's as good as, like, say, George Karlaftis is getting after the quarterback, but he's decent at it. He's a very interesting player.
He can do a lot of things.
Yes.
Like, jack of all trades implies, like, master of none, and that's kind of what Maikel Hecht is. You can ask him to do a lot. He's not going to maybe be great at anything, but he can do a lot.
You can fit him in a lot of different roles.
Bills also loaded up on defense in the draft. Maxwell Hairston, the corner from Kentucky, was their first-round pick. Drafted a couple of big defensive tackles, T.J. Sanders and Deion Walker, and Landon Jackson, the edge out of Arkansas. So they went SEC defensive lineman heavy.
Not a terrible idea.
In their draft. The Ravens, on the flip side, really haven't done much with their roster. Their biggest offseason move was re-signing Ronnie Stanley and keeping him around as their left tackle, and maybe even keeping him away from Kansas City, which is every bit as valuable. They signed DeAndre Hopkins. We'll see how much left he's got in the tank. Chidobe Awuzie was signed. He's had some nice years, some nice performances at cornerback, but again, best years probably behind him. They drafted Malachi Starks, a safety out of Georgia, who's a very Ravens defender.
Like him a lot.
They took the open box special on Mike Green with the 59th overall pick. Drafted Emory Jones at LSU at offensive tackle, Teddy Buchanan, linebacker from Cal, as their first 4 draft picks. When you look at that, I think it's pretty easy to say that with their draft and their free agent business, absolutely the Chiefs have had the best offseason of those contenders. As far as, I don't know that anybody took a great leap forward, and I would include the Chiefs in that department. But as far as shoring up the things that needed shoring up, I think the Chiefs did it better than the Bills or the Ravens in this particular offseason period.
I would agree with you. So Baltimore only signed 5 incoming free agents this year. Ronnie Stanley got a contract before the league year even started. They just gave him a big extension. Patrick Ricard, the fullback and former lineman, Tylan Wallace, and who's the other one? Ben Cleveland, offensive guard. They all hit free agency, but then just re-signed anyway. So they only brought in a few new guys, and one of them is a backup quarterback. One of them is Cooper Rush. They signed DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know. Maybe that's useful. Maybe not. I don't know.
Feels like they just have to have a wide receiver on the wrong side of his prime on the roster every year.
It's been that way for forever. So, I don't know about Baltimore. I think they drafted well. Green is a very talented player, has the off-the-field stuff. He's a very talented player. I like Starks a lot. Buffalo, I think, is the most interesting, based on number of potential outcomes. Because I agree. I think the Chiefs had a really good offseason. They addressed all their biggest needs, right? The Chiefs did. In the draft, they needed a defensive lineman who can start probably right away or at least play a large share of snaps off the bench. Omar Norman-Lott, great. They needed depth at edge. Got Ashton Gelati. Great. Left tackle, probably for the future. Great. But they signed their left tackle for this year in free agency. Great. Awesome. Depth at cornerback. They got that in the draft.
And added Christian Fulton.
And they signed a guy who I think is going to start. I think Christian Fulton's going to start.
Absolutely is going to start.
So you got him. You brought back a Menahu. That was important depth. You got depth on the defensive line with Jerry Tillery. You bring back Mike Pennell. I like bringing Mike Edwards back. You've got a better backup quarterback. I think it was a very steady and very good, if not flashy, offseason for the Chiefs. I think Buffalo is fascinating. Like, they needed pass rush help. And for the 7 games Joey Bosa plays when he's not hurt, I think that's effective. Like, I think he's better than Von Miller at this point in their respective careers. I think that was positive. I don't think you're getting anything from Trey White, unfortunately. Great dude, once a great player. I think he's just broken. Dane Jackson's a nice player. He's on a 1-year deal at cornerback. They have one wide receiver on the whole team who is like an actual outside the numbers wide receiver. That's Keon Coleman, who had an up and down rookie year. And there are people who cover the league and covered the draft last year who think his best role is actually big slot, or power slot is the phrase used now. They have all slot receivers. Yeah. Everyone is a slot receiver. So we talk
even their tight ends.
And then
tight ends are glorified slot receivers.
They're tight ends who, like, in theory are good players, but in practice are like somewhat above average at best.
I'm still waiting for the great leap forward from Dalton Kincaid.
I am desperately waiting for it. I think Fulton is too. He was also all over him a couple years ago. So, like, they're steering into what you're good at, like the aggressive high motor edge for the Chiefs, and corners who play really tough physical bump and run coverage on the outside for the Chiefs. And then we're going to employ exactly one kind of player in our wide receiver room. That is quite the gambit. And like, Josh Allen can do everything. And you just say, hey, Josh, you're going to have a bunch of small dudes, throw the ball 100 miles an hour to them. And maybe it works. But I think their offense has a lot of potential up and down. We also don't know what their running back situation is going to be. He's never going to show up. He wants to get paid, and the Bills have pretty much told him no. Like, we're going to run you into the ground one more year, and then you can walk. So I don't know what the running situation is going to look like for them. And I don't know that Darrington Evans is going to fix any of that. So I think the Bills are in a fascinating place, honestly. They're the most intriguing of the three, but I think the Chiefs are the best of the three. I got questions about Baltimore, honestly. Yeah. I don't think they did enough.
No, I haven't loved really their offseason at all. And it comes back to this point, because I asked Matt as well yesterday, like, who got the closest to maybe joining that tier of contenders this offseason. But when you think about the storylines of this offseason, this was an offseason with a free agent class.
Straight up bad.
And this is a draft that was roundly viewed as deep, in the sense that, like, you can find some contributing guys. Like, you're going to be happy with who you end up on day 2 taking. But this was not a draft with a bunch of blue chippers. This was not like a deep draft. Not a lot of guys who are going to be day 1, high snap volume, high impact guys. Maybe this wasn't the offseason to make the great leap forward by virtue of who you acquired and the business you did from March through the start of training camp. This is going to be maybe an offseason where the teams that make the biggest leap forward are just going to do so through internal improvement, whether that's Denver, Bo Nix makes a big jump in year 2, or the Chargers and they're better in Harbaugh's system in year 2, or Houston because they get CJ Stroud, a remade offensive line. Though, I mean, they remade the offensive line. I don't know that they got better. Like, it's just different. Like, it's sort of like Simpsons episode where Marge finds the Chanel suit at the at the thrift shop, and she wears it to the country club, and then when she gets invited back, realizes, well, I got one suit. I gotta sew it and make it look different. And she just keeps doing it over and over again. That's what the Texans did with their offensive line. They just tried to make a different suit out of the same suit.
They did hire a new line coach, which good. They needed it.
Yes,
but also, like, you know, the best way to help a new coach or even a veteran coach who's on a new team, get him a lot of talent. And I don't really know that Houston did nearly enough of that. And maybe it works anyway, but I I would be leery of that, to be completely honest with you. I'm going through these teams right now, trying to figure out who I think would be next. Man, I know their defense was so bad last year. I still think it's Cincinnati. I still think it is.
If they really do find a way to keep Trey Hendrickson, which I'm skeptical.
Me too.
Extremely. Me too. Skeptical. But if they find a way to keep him, and Shamar Stewart is somebody who, as a rookie, the tools manifest into production, which they didn't do in college, so that's not a safe bet necessarily. Right. The Bengals are still the only team to beat the Chiefs in a game that matters.
Yeah.
And they're the only ones.
And look, if you're talking about a team that's not in that upper echelon right now, like, you better be elite at something. You better be great at something. And the Bengals can score. They can score a lot of points, and they can throw the ball all over the field. Burrow was awesome last year. Would have gotten some real MVP looks if the team didn't finish, 9-8, and they were 4-8 at one point during the season. Jamar Chase is obviously great. T. Higgins is the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. I like Andre Yoshivas. He's a really nice red zone piece. Their offensive line is playable now. It's better than it was, and I think they drafted there well. The tight end room, they're not going to block. Mike Gesicki is not going to block anybody, but he will get open. He will catch passes. Yeah. That is what he's there to do. They can score, and I just feel like they also drafted Taj Brooks, that I think is an interesting player that they took at running back.
It doesn't need to get a lot better on defense. It just needs to be like an incremental improvement to float what the offense ought to be.
I'm not going to plant my flag as aggressively in them this year as I did last year, because I picked them to win that division last year. They finished 3rd. They added TJ Slayton, former Packer, on the defensive line, who's not great, but he's respectable. He's better than they had at defensive tackle. They still have Hendrickson for now. We still got one more year. Their linebacker core is good. Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt is a good group. And they added some depth there with draft picks and free agents. The secondary stinks. It's bad. There's no getting around that. But, like, if they can generate a little pass rush to take some pressure off the back end, I can squint and see it. I can see them being the 4th team in that group. But if they don't improve defensively, they're not going to win that many games this year. They're not going to go 9-8. They're going to be worse than that, because you've got to keep improving if you want to keep up with 3 teams that, even though 2 of them haven't been to the mountaintop yet, and the Ravens and the Bills, we know how good they are. Like, yes. If you're a Chiefs fan and you want to make fun of Josh Allen for not winning the big one, or make fun of the Ravens for not winning the big ones against you, okay, fine. I'm not going to, scold you for that. But I think anyone rationally would say, yeah, the Bills are really good. The Ravens are really good.
Sure.
And I think if you're the Bengals or you're the Texans, I think those are the next 2 teams. You have got to find a way to improve on your biggest weaknesses. Houston got their asses kicked last we saw them. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess, no, they kicked the asses of the Chargers, but then the Chiefs, that was never in question when they played Kansas City.
No, their offensive line was not championship caliber, and the Bengals defense was not championship caliber, and it was probably not possible to do enough to get those to a place where they would be this particular offseason, unless there's some significant internal or schematic improvement, and that's a hard thing to bank on. We'll take a time out here at 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, it's What Is Wrong With You time. What is wrong with you on 580 Sports Talk is brought to you by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. See what Mo can do for you. Why don't you give him a call? 785-273-1572. Our current weekly champion, the cool mom. What I've decided to call her.
I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
She's so cool that she brought Jell-O shots to her son or daughter's classroom party. Problem, kid is in 5th grade.
She also bought them off of a Facebook.
Bought them on Facebook. Bought Jell-O shots on Facebook, and bunch of 5th graders got loaded.
But she didn't know, even though the Facebook page clearly labeled these have alcohol.
I wouldn't buy Jell-O shots off of Facebook for adults.
Yeah,
I would never do that. That's crazy.
I would not do that either.
Spend the hour plus and make them.
Brendan, you've got a story today. What do you got?
Do you know the song Area Codes by Ludacris?
I do. Yes. About having women in different area codes.
Yeah. There's it's a slant rhyme with area codes. I'll let you do the research yourself if you're not aware of the song.
Nate Dogg on the Hook, legendary.
Yes. Well, we've got a real version of that going down in Florida. A story has come out and is going viral about a man in Florida, Henry Betsy Jr., who's married to 3 different women in 3 different Florida counties, all at the same time, all of whom thought they were his only wife.
Man, he just loves to be married.
He just loves it. Each woman met Henry on a different dating app, and then all tied the knot within weeks of meeting. So what is wrong with you here? All these women, frankly. Tanya Betsy met Henry on Tinder in 2020, and then they got married in November of that year at the Duval County Courthouse. Despite being legally married to Tanya, Henry later met Brandy Betsy now on the dating app Stir.
That's a new one on me.
I've never heard of it.
I've been out the game.
And married her in Manatee County in February of 22. So for those keeping score at home, that is 15 months later. Shortly after that, he met Michelle Betsy through Match.com and married her in Hernando County, Florida in November of 22. That is a whopping 9 months after marrying the second wife. He was legally married to all 3 at the same time. Tanya was the first to uncover the truth after she got suspicious and started checking county records online. Quote, I just started county by county, putting in his name. And that's when I came up with the marriage to Michelle and the marriage to Brandy. Michelle, unaware of the other women, was stunned. Quote, there was nothing flagged in the system. We got married right there at the courthouse. No questions asked. All 3 women were deceived by alleged aliases, manipulations, and love bombing by Henry. That's a modern term. It's the whole thing. So he was arrested in Seminole County after Tanya filed a police report and submitted evidence of his multiple marriages. He has been charged with felony bigamy, and his name is now popping up all over the place. He targeted recently divorced women on other platforms like Bumble, presenting himself as charming, attentive, and ready to settle down.
Clearly it worked.
Yeah. Brandy said that he tried to convince her to open a joint bank account 5 days into their marriage, and then she kicked him out after he became verbally aggressive, and that's when things started to turn on Mr. Betsy's marriages.
That sounds like his only crime was having game and also being married to 3 different women at the same time. That is, in fact, a crime as well.
Yeah, a felony, in fact.
Too much sauce.
Too much of something.
For my story, we go to Union County, North Carolina, where 49-year-old Ernest Davis, a youth sports referee, was arrested after firing a weapon inside a youth sports athletic facility. Davis was working as a referee for a youth sporting event when he fired a weapon that had been concealed in his gym bag. That's the story.
Why did you bring it? There's no need for that in the building. None.
Look, I've heard some horror stories about youth sports parents, right? Like,
right.
The way they treat officials. We have an officiating shortage in Kansas, and I'm sure elsewhere. I understand. Parents get out of pocket, and if you're a referee, you want to, keep them in line, keep them from ruining the experience for you, but most importantly for the kids. The blicky probably should be a part of that.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you need to pull out your piece. God dang.
He's been charged with carrying a concealed weapon and discharging a firearm into occupied property.
Oh, my
Who wins
goodness.
today? I think it's got to be the bigamist.
Yeah.
It's got to be the Bumble bigamist. Does that beat the cool mom? It's a good name, but it doesn't beat the cool mom.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
That story's so stupid.
Cool Mom's going to be tough to beat. What is Wrong with You? Sponsored by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. Maikel Swain of Fog.net next on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Floating Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Maikel Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. He joins us every Tuesday at this time for Jayhawk Weekly on the program. Maikel, where does the KU men's basketball coaching staff go from here after the departure of one of Bill Self's longtime and long-trusted deputies, Norm Roberts?
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, the most logical step, and one step that will be taken, is Chase Buford will be promoted. Now, there's probably a little more context here, so he was hired last year, technically on the contract that I got earlier this week. That it says he's an analyst. That changed. I'm trying to think of when exactly, probably during the season, but he was more of an assistant coach. Like, he was active in terms of working with players and working with game plans and scouts. If you were in Providence and were watching the bench closely, you could see Chase Buford was one that was very active in communicating with players, especially when KU switched, to its zone defense. And he was someone that was involved. And so now for him, basically, I think he's going to get promoted to more of what you consider a full-time assistant role, where I think you'd see him out on the recruiting trail. There are obviously new coaching rules now for basketball. There have been maybe for a year or two, I want to say, where more of them now can go on the road. It's not just 3 or 4. There's a few more, like last year, Joe Dooley was seen out on the road. Same deal with some of these other guys. So right now, Chase Buford is kind of the guy that will fill into that slot. Now, the big question is this the last move? And I don't think it is. I think there will be more reshuffling, maybe more departures over the next week or 2 weeks. Kind of depends on the timing of it, because, sometimes things can't come out immediately. Like this thing with Norm Roberts did not happen on Monday. right, that had been in the works for a while. So more to come, but yeah, for right now, I think in terms of filling Norm Roberts' role on the staff, I think it is going to be Chase Buford.
Speaking of KU basketball, they continue to pursue some pieces in the transfer portal. Where are they at on their pursuit of a backup big man? They got to find somebody to play the 5 when Floyd Badunga's not on the floor. Where are they at in that pursuit right now?
Yeah, still TBD. And I think that I know what you're alluding to here. Transfer from Oklahoma State, visited yesterday. And I think he's someone that, honestly, you look at, name's Patrick Suminick. Should have said that on the forefront. He's someone that you look at him, and it's, yes, he could play some backup 5, but he's probably also someone that could play the 4. And I think that sort of versatility would be very useful for KU. And I think about it like this. Bryson Tiller had a lot of talent, but he is coming off of a year without really playing competitive basketball. And to go into the year next year with Flory, maybe a backup center, and Bryson Tiller, and then Trey White potentially as kind of your front court players, that's still pretty light. And so someone like Sumnick could help KU in that regard of providing some front court versatility. He could play the 4 next to Flory. He could play the 5 next to Bryson Tiller or next to Trey White, So I think he's someone that would theoretically provide some more versatility in the front court, would provide some insurance if it takes Bryson Tiller some time to come off this injury and kind of figure things out in college. It could. I think KU's pretty high on Bryson Tiller and what he could be, but again, hasn't played competitive basketball in over a year. So it's really hard to say where he's going to be. And as we've seen before, right, playing forward, center, whatever you want to call it, for Bill Self is not always the easiest thing to learn. So it might take him some time. So I think someone like, Sumnick might be able to help KU in that regard and providing some depth in the front court.
We're joined by Maikel Swain of Fog.net. He joins us every Tuesday at this time for Jayhawk Weekly here on 580 Sports Talk. Make sure you're a VIP over at 24/7 Sports so you can get all the best insight into what is going on over at KU and with KU Athletics. By the way, Patrick Suminick, his first year in college basketball was 2020 and 2021. He has been around forever. Guys just don't ever have to graduate anymore. You can just play college basketball until you die, and that's a thing that apparently is going to keep happening. Anyway, Maikel, that's a discussion for another day. Let's talk about some other KU targets. One that has gained some steam, at least in terms of his name's popping up all over social media. Correct me if I'm wrong. Dame Sarr, who is an Italian prospect on the wing or at one of the guard positions, if I'm not mistaken. I know he's gotten plenty of interest from some big programs, not just KU. What is his level of interest in coming to Lawrence?
Yeah, I think he's got some strong interest. And you did get the name right, Dame Sarr.
All right.
That's good. It's tricky. It's tricky.
It looks like Dame. So no, that's why it's hard. It looks like Dame, and everyone wants to say Dame like Lillard.
Dame Judi Dench? Is that who we're talking about?
No, unfortunately. Also a little different.
See, if he had been born in the U.S., you could say Dame. It probably would be Dame. But no, born in Italy, played for FC Barcelona. And this isn't playing for, the under 21 or the youth team for Barcelona. Like, he cracked the rotation as an 18-year-old. Like, it's insane to talk about it like that in the second best league in the world behind, the NBA. Like, he is playing at a high level over there. And he's someone that went over to the Nike Hoop Summit out in Oregon, performed really well playing against some of the best high school players in the country. I think when you see him in that setting, you really do see some of the talent that really does pop, just because, he's just got the it factor. I think you see in why NBA teams kind of feel like he could be a first-round pick, right? He's long. He's a good horizontal, I think, athlete, maybe not the most explosive vertical leaper, but he is an explosive player. He's got the length. He's got a good shot on him. So he is someone that's really coveted. For a while, it looked like Illinois was in deep with them. They took Andrej Stojakovic instead because they can only take, people with itch to end their last name. So basically then what happened was, okay, Duke was involved. Then Cedric Coward went to Duke. And so now it's come to the spot where KU is very much in the thick of things for him. And I think if you look at this roster for KU, Sarr could really project to play kind of a 3. And I think he'd be a really good match where he could play off the ball. He could also play on the ball. that's the great part about his skill set, right? He's a really good catch and shoot player, but I think he also showed some of the ball handling skills at the Nike Hoop Summit. So, I mean, if KU is able to get this over the line and able to get him, it'd be a great addition, because you're talking about a guy that's viewed as a first-round talent, and that would give KU 3. You know, you've got Darren Peterson, Floyd Badunga, and then Dame Sarr if KU's able to get it over the line. So you're talking about building out more of that NBA talent. And obviously within the last week, right, it came out that KU does not have anyone going to the NBA Combine. And I don't think anyone got invited to the G League Elite Camp either. So it just goes to show you the lack of pro talent on the team last year. That won't be the case next year. And it definitely won't be the case if they're able to add Dame Sarr.
From basketball's portal to football, a couple of notable players left via the portal recently for KU, which in and of itself has done a great job adding talent through the portal this spring. But a couple of interesting potential destinations here, or decided upon destinations. By Job, who earlier on in the year was this past year was a huge get, former 4-star prospect from Michigan State, crazy athlete. He enters the portal this spring. He's going to Miami, Ohio. I think a lot of folks assumed he got a big NIL bag from a major program given his pedigree. Why did he end up going down to the MAC after he would have certainly rotated in at KU?
Because he wants to start. He wants to play a lot. You know, that was something that if you go back to last year when he committed, that was something I was told by people close to him, was the fact that he really liked KU because of the development aspect, right? But that development aspect they were talking about was Austin Booker, who learned on the job. And so that was his goal, was to go to KU in last year to play most likely behind Dean Miller as a rotational player. Obviously, that didn't happen. He broke his hand during camp. And I'm still convinced, guys, if he didn't break his hand during camp, he would have been KU's number 2 defensive end. DJ Warner would not have played very much. And it probably would have been a different situation. But he's super raw. He's only been playing football for like 4 years. So as good of an athlete as he is, as much potential as he is, he's got to play to unlock it. And he just, didn't play much last year. He was looking at a situation where, he would have been a rotational player this year, but he's a guy that needs a lot of game reps and really wants to play a lot. So that's why I think you'll see him go to Miami, Ohio. I think he's the type of guy that, JUCO bounce back used to be a thing. Now I think it's really you go G5 bounce back. Jeez. I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. I think he's going to go to Miami, Ohio. He's going to play a lot. I think he's going to do well because I think he's a good player. And then next year he'll be in the portal in the winter, and he'll go back to some Big 12 or SEC school and do it all over again. But that's one that's definitely playing time related, and I think he wants to go start somewhere and play a lot of football.
Kean Burnett at tight end. We were really excited when he committed to the program from Arizona out of the portal. And he goes back in the portal, surprising everybody. And he's going back to Arizona because why should anything be normal or conventional at this point? But that leaves a big hole at tight end for KU. Hopefully Deshaun Hanukkah is feeling healthy and good to go this year. Obviously a very talented player. That's our guy. We called his games in high school here in Topeka. What is KU going to do for its second tight end spot? Because we know that Jim Zabrowski and Matt Lubick are going to want to run some 12 and 22 personnel sets.
Yeah, I think, the market's pretty bare. There is not a lot, I think, of tight ends who have experience, who are willing to go into a situation where there's a good chance that the guy that is on campus right now is probably the number 1 tight end with Sean Hanukkah. Now, if Kean Burnett had stayed, that would have been a great position battle. I think Kean could end up starting. And I will say this too, it is kind of crazy to me. And the SEC does one thing right, where you can't transfer inside the conference after spring football. The fact that Kean Burnett just spent 5 months in Lawrence learning the playbook and now goes to Arizona, who KU plays this November. It's a little crazy. I'd love to get Lance Leipold's thoughts off the record on that, because I think that's a pretty crazy turn of events. But for KU looking to this fall, I think it really is right now. I don't get the feeling that there is going to be another tight end addition. I think, honestly, it might just be a situation where KU goes in the season with Sean Hanukkah, Leighton Kier, and then you really bank on someone like, Jaden Ham or Carson Bruin or Quentin Connolly really taking a big step forward and providing some of that depth as kind of a third tight end.
Maikel Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. He joins us every Tuesday for Jayhawk Weekly here on 580 Sports Talk. Go be a VIP subscriber at 24/7 Sports. Get all of Maikel's outstanding inside info. Be the first to know the latest about transfer portal recruiting, additions to the KU coaching staff, and so much more over at fog.net. Maikel, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. We'll do it again next week.
Awesome. Sounds good, guys. Talk to you next week.
That is Maikel Swain. We will take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Well, thanks again to Maikel Swain of fog.net. Always appreciate when he joins us for Jayhawk Weekly every Tuesday on the program, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Coming on the 5 o'clock hour, we've got headlines, including a playoff roundup. We'll get back into some Royals baseball, set up game 2 of their series tonight against the White Sox. 6 o'clock pregame, so when we're done, and then a 6:40 first pitch from Kauffman Stadium. Seth Lugo and Sean Burke, the pitching matchup. We're also going to talk about the Mascot Hall of Fame, which is a real thing that really exists. And we're going to have ourselves a debate over who belongs.
I'm pumped.
In the Mascot Hall of Fame. So looking forward to that. Also got some great stuff coming up this week on the show. It is a pro sports weekend in Topeka and in the state of Kansas. We've got and NASCAR, the Advent Health 400 on Sunday at Kansas Speedway. We are efforting a conversation with a NASCAR superstar. I think it's fair to call this person a superstar.
I would say so.
That we're working on getting an interview with and booking that for the show later on this week. Also, 8th through the 10th here in Topeka at West Ridge Lanes. You've heard the advertisements for it. The Professional Women's Bowling Association opens up their season with the Go Bowling Topeka Open. First time the PWBA has been in Topeka since 2015. And we'll have an interview with one of the participants on tomorrow's show. So get you ready for top flight women's professional bowling coming to Topeka, West Ridge Lanes. And great opportunity to check out some high-level pro sports in the capital city.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. It's really neat to have pro sports in town, whatever it is, hockey obviously now, or bowling or whatever else. That's super cool. And I'm interested to hear what Ross Chastain has to say. He's kind of become a big name since he had a huge highlight in a race a couple years ago.
Way to blow the surprise. Come on, Brendan. Jiminy Christmas.
My bad. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, that's coming up later this week. More 580 Sports Talk after the local news. Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on a Tuesday afternoon, turning to Tuesday evening on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and live in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. Gang's all here. Dan Lucero, Brendan Rosinski, Spencer Dupuis. We've got one more hour of Sports Talk for you today. Then we'll hand it off to Royals baseball. Royals and White Sox, game 2 of a 4-game set tonight. 6 o'clock pregame coverage on the Royals Baseball Network. 6:40 first pitch. We had a text from the 785, and feel free to text the program. 785-272-9429. We'd love to hear from you. 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat. Interact with your fellow listeners in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. And a texter from the 785 asked why the Royals games always start at 6:40. Why not 7 o'clock or 6:30? And the reason that I can give you for that, I can tell you this, that the 6:40 start times as opposed to 7:05 or 7:10, which have been more familiar start times for Royals home games in recent years, that is intentional early in the season to give fans a chance to get home a little earlier after the midweek games. Like last year, it was particularly intentional that the Royals scheduled their midweek games in April and May and in September at 6:40 because that's when school's in session, right? So get your family out to a game, get your kids out to a game. It starts at 6:40. That's half an hour earlier than the typical start. Then you're home half an hour earlier. You can get them to bed and you can get them to school, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed the next day. I used that metaphor correctly this time.
Well done.
So there are still some 7:10 start times for the Royals this year. They are on Fridays because what do the Royals do on Friday nights at Kauffman Stadium? Fireworks. And what do you need for good fireworks?
Darkness.
Thank you very much, Spencer Dupuis, for playing along. Yes. So Friday night home games this year are going to start at 7:10. But every other night game this season, and this includes the summer months, at the K is going to start this year at 6:40. And the reason you start them at 6:40 is, again, you start them a little earlier. You get the fans home a little earlier, especially because, most of the fans are traveling a little bit out of their way, at least, to the Truman Sports Complex. So that's part of it. As opposed to, as it pertains to the other part of your question, the implied part of your question, why not go at like the top or the bottom of an hour? That is an invention of television or media, essentially, where, you have a little bit of buffer time between the top of the hour and when the game actually starts for the sake of another advertisement break or two.
Growing up, it was the Cubs always had their pregame show on WGN was the leadoff man. And it was 10 minutes before the game started. You watched the leadoff man. And that's what I remember the extra 10 minutes for. Not knowing any different, I thought that was like a uniquely Cubs thing. Like, wow, this team is so cool and popular, they have to do an extra 10-minute show.
Well, didn't they start like the afternoon, the Friday, because they play home games Friday afternoon.
Yeah, 1:20.
Yes,
1:20 pitch for friendly confines.
Yes, that is unique to the Cubs. Obviously, they were the last team at their ballpark to have lights. Didn't play night baseball there since before 1988.
88.
Yeah,
but then it rained out, so they played it on 8/9/88.
This is all true. This is all Cub lore here. But for the most part, you see now the 10 after the hour start times are, I think, fairly new. I think you used to see a lot of start times that were 05.
Mm-hmm.
And now you see 10 after the hour instead of 05, or you see 6:40 as opposed to 6:35. There are some exceptions, like May 30th, or excuse me, this is August 30th. My mistake. The Royals-Tigers game will start at 6:15 on Saturday.
National broadcast.
Yeah.
You have a national broadcast there, so you need a little bit more space for that. Also, Blue Jays games start at 7 past the hour or 7 past the bottom of the hour. When the Royals go to Toronto in early August. Those first pitch times will be 6:07 on Friday, 2:07 on Saturday, and 12:37 on Sunday. There was one year, I want to say it was the White Sox,
probably,
that got a sponsorship deal with a convenience store of some renown, and so started all of their home games at 7-Eleven.
Yep, that is correct.
The Angels, when they go out in that West Coast trip the last week of the season, Angels have a 38 start time.
Yes, they're 8:38.
Yeah, Angels are
38.
Angels are
or what? 7:30.
Yeah,
6:38.
6:38
local. Yeah,
yeah. There's a 5:45 first pitch in Philadelphia in September. 5:45 Central, so 6:45 Eastern.
What is weird to me is
I think 15 past the hour is traditional for the Cardinals.
Fox. It's the Fox.
Yeah, and for national TV games, but you get some 15 past the hour. The 3 games in St. Louis early June are all going to start at 6:45 Central Time. I don't know necessarily the why of that. I have just always assumed that was a creation of television to stuff in an ad break before the start of the game.
You have to wonder for the Royals, because last year it was the school time, like you mentioned at the top of the segment. School year time frame was the 6:40 starts. The summertime was the 7:10s. You have to wonder if maybe they tinkered it back this year to everything at 6:40, because midweek games, people still have work in the morning. Maybe they saw a little uptick in attendance, and they're like, you know what? Let's just make it all.
Or they probably surveyed their season ticket holders, asked them what they thought about the whole thing, because there's not too much difference from the Royals' perspective. I mean, like, the game is the game. They're not gonna sell less beer starting at 6:40. You know, it's not going to affect them. I mean, if it were something that dramatically affected their bottom line, like if they decide we're going to start games at 5:30, and nobody could get there because 70's a parking lot. And then they would say, well, this is obviously not tenable. We got to start the game.
I wonder how many more people, though, go to games weeknights that are in the immediate KC metro area, because they start 30 minutes prior. That's an extra 30 minutes on the back end.
I do think that probably I would imagine that would positively affect attendance for like people with families, people with young kids who are trying to get them out to the ballpark and think, okay, well, games at most now are 3 hours.
I was going to say it's more than 30 minutes because the pitch clock has shortened the game so much.
So you could theoretically, like, let's say you live in Overland Park and you've got you go out to a 6:40 first pitch. You could theoretically be back home by 10:15.
Here is what would solve this issue. More teams need to play during the daytime. Baseball belongs when it's light outside.
I agree.
I feel like that's a typical Cubs fan with
it
our 120 Friday.
It's a certainly biased take, but here's the thing. Games are better when they're played in the daytime. I always enjoy Royals games more when I have an afternoon game I'm going to as opposed to a night game.
I like day baseball too.
I like evening games. now it's turning into it. Like, I personally am a fan of a 6:05 game. But now it's essentially different. Not that it doesn't matter now if they're starting at 6:40.
By the way, like, Babe Ruth never played a night game. Let's go back to those days.
That's true.
Don't ask me about other things that didn't happen in Major League Baseball in the 30s. But Babe Ruth never played in a night game. So
Babe Ruth never played against anybody who wasn't a white dude. Like, let's not completely turn back the clock.
He played 6 games after the first ever night game, and then never showed up. They lost 11-6 against Philly, and then he never played again.
Night baseball was that odious to him.
Yes, correct.
And
to me,
I'm a fan of this is a crazy start time. So the Nationals, every year they play in DC on the 4th of July. They get that on their calendar.
Yep.
They play at 11:05 a.m. I love it.
You
go to the game, you can get home for your barbecue, then go watch fireworks.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
The only thing it sucks for is if you're going to DC to go to the fireworks.
Yeah.
Because then you're done, and then it's like, well,
you just got to spend all day in the city.
I got to spend the next 6 hours waiting.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the Royals, we're going to give away a couple of tickets to Wednesday night's game this hour. I just decided that, by the way. I just decided that we're going to go ahead and we're going to give a pair of tickets away there. But first, let's get to some headlines, shall we? Our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Let's begin with some news from the Big 12 from Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports. Big 12 presidents extend the contract of Commissioner Brett Yormark. It is a 3-year contract extension that will carry Yormark through 2030. He had originally agreed in 2022 to a 5-year contract. In a statement, Yormark said, quote, "We have made great progress over the last 3 years, and our best days are ahead. I am thrilled to continue to work alongside our member schools as we grow and strengthen the Big 12 into a conference that is innovative and prepared for what the future may hold." Brett Yormark has tried a lot of stuff as the commissioner of the Big 12, and not all of it has been a resounding success, but enough of it has been positive that I feel comfortable saying that he is, when it comes to conference commissioners, and I am of the opinion that we know too many of these guys. I should not know or have to know or care who the commissioner of the SEC is.
Agreed.
That should not concern me one way or another. These guys have way too much power in the modern era, the modern purview of college sports. But Brett Yormark, I think, as much as any one commissioner can say, is responsible for where their conference is. I think the SEC probably gets to where it got, whether or not Mike Slive is their conference commissioner. Mm-hmm. The Big Ten has changed conference commissioners midstream. Mm-hmm. The Big 12 might not exist. Certainly might not be on the stable footing that it feels like it is on right now, mm-hmm. if not for the leadership of Brett Yormark. So this was obviously a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, this was obvious. If I remember reading this correctly, it's technically an option that it picked up a 3-year option that extends it out. So he had 2 more years on his contract. This now makes it essentially a 5-year contract running through 2030. Everything expires in 2030.
Yep.
All around college football. Brett Yormark's contract expires in 2030. At least a couple conferences have their TV grants of rights end in 2030. That is going to be a nuclear bomb of a year for college sports, especially college football. But as we know, college football really drives everything in college sports for the most part. That is the year to look at for probably widespread increased realignment around the sport. Just my personal opinion. I think Yormark's done a good job. There have been things I haven't agreed with totally, but I think he's done a very good job.
There's an interesting note in Pete Thamel's article at ESPN about the contract extension. Yormark has also been aggressive in further expansion, although the league has been unreceptive to the additions of Connecticut in all sports and Gonzaga in basketball. Parenthetical. The talks with Gonzaga eventually faded, and that school joined the refurbished Pac-12. The discussions with UConn stalled in September. I don't recall knowing about that prior to reading that in Thamel's article. I understood that was not immediate, but I did not know that unreceptive was the description of the Big 12's leadership in regards to adding UConn.
I remember hearing, I don't remember who we talked to. I do remember that coming up in the sense that a couple of programs were leery of it.
Right.
But we didn't know who, right? Because we were thinking who would be the programs who wouldn't want to add UConn.
Right.
And frankly, I think it was Bill Self, Kelvin Sampson, and Scott Drew. That's kind of my belief. Because realistically, of any 3 basketball programs in the conference, those are the 3 dudes that have the most pull, right? I know Houston's only been around for a little bit, but Sampson is highly respected and has been around for forever. And Houston's Bill Self, and Scott Drew, he and Bill Self are the deans of the conference. So I would assume those guys have the most pull when it comes to that. So straight up unreceptive, though, is interesting. That makes me think it's more than just a couple of guys holding out. So that's an interesting note. I'm glad. I don't want UConn in the Big 12.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't want Gonzaga either. No. A little regionality is fine, I promise. Next headline for us on today's 580 Sports Talk headlines. I hate this one. We're going back to horse racing. Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby earlier this week, over the weekend, and it's not going to win the Triple Crown this year. Wow, you're sure confident in that, aren't you, Brendan? Well, nope. The horse's party, essentially, his people, decided he's not even going to take a chance at running it. He will not run in the Preakness Stakes ending any chances at a Triple Crown before they even begin. This is from Mike Rogers, the VP of 1ST Racing, which runs the Preakness. We received a call today from trainer Bill Mott that Sovereignty will not be competing in the Preakness. We extend our congratulations to the connections of Sovereignty and respect their decision.
Sounds like this horse is ducking smoke.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you're horse racing, like horse racing doesn't need money and exposure because the whole sport is about millionaires and billionaires and their horses. They don't need that. But in terms of perception and popularity, you'd think you'd want to grow the sport a little bit. And I know it's hard on these horses' bodies. I get that.
Yeah, the 2-week separation between the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness
it's quick.
Really started to limit how many horses are giving it a shot. This is the 5th time since 2018 that the Preakness will not include the Kentucky Derby winner. 5th time since 2018.
That's terrible for the sport.
It
I
is.
genuinely believe that. That is terrible for the sport. You have essentially a month and a half, not even a month and a half, to get real attention, real eyeballs, people caring, people watching on NBC, all of that. You have a month and a half at most, and you're kneecapping yourself after the first race.
Yeah.
And it is funny that the biggest one is the first one, but still, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't like this. Mott told reporters in Louisville, we want to do what's best for the horse. Of course, you always think about a Triple Crown, and that's not something we're going to think about. So I guess you don't always think about a Triple Crown, Bill Mott.
Spencer, give us a headline.
Yes, some Chiefs made some transactions official today. First and foremost, they signed their first-round pick, left tackle Josh Simmons, to his big rookie guaranteed contract, which is good that your first-round pick is signed because sometimes first-round picks hold out.
Is he the first one?
No, I think 7th in their running back signed.
The first Chief or the first round pick?
Or first
round pick.
It could be.
Spencer, you continue. I'll do some research.
They've also made room on their 90-man roster. They have waived defensive back Will Brooks and Justin Lockhart, the receiver, with an injury settlement. The team terminated the contract of vested veteran cornerback Robert Rochelle. That's because they have signed 3 undrafted free agents that they invited to rookie minicamp. Jimmy Holiday, a receiver out of Louisiana Tech, Cooper McDonald, a linebacker out of TCU, and a Division II defensive back out of Carson Newman, Major Williams. Those are the signings to their 90-man roster. Also, B.J. Thompson, the defensive end that suffered a seizure believe that was summer workout.
I think it was a heart attack. Was it a seizure?
I thought it was a seizure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My mistake.
He had been waived over the weekend in order to make room, but because of his injury, he reverts back to the team's injury reserve.
Yes, he would be on the new non-football injury list. Tyler Booker of the Cowboys was the first round pick signed.
Tyler Booker, and then Josh Simmons is the second one.
Correct.
To get done. So yeah, still either way, good for the Chiefs for getting that business done early.
Yeah, don't waste time. Get the offset language stuff done. The scale is all the same. You know what they're getting paid. Just get it done and get everything taken care of.
Especially because you can help in his rehab process now.
Yes, and he is coming off of an injury, so more urgency to go ahead and get that payday. Why don't we do a playoff roundup?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
I think we should do the playoff roundup.
Big night of hoops.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
We'll get to the hoops.
I was ready this time.
You were on the ball. We'll get to some hoops, no pun intended, in a bit. We'll lay out for those because the 2 game ones last night were both awesome. Well, we'll get to the NHL. Just 1 game on Frozen Pond last night, the start of the conference semifinals. William Nylander scored twice in the first period. The Toronto Maple Leafs hold off the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions, 5-4, game 1 of their Eastern semifinals. That despite the Leafs losing their starting goaltender, Anthony Stolarz, who left the game in the second period after taking an elbow to the head from known cheap shot artist Sam Bennett. He was taken to the hospital after the game. He was throwing up on the bench and taken to the hospital. He also took a puck off the mask a little bit earlier in the game. So the elbow maybe didn't help, but it may not have been the precipitating event in ringing Stolarz's bell. But yeah, he had to be observed at the hospital overnight. It was released today. No punishment coming for Bennett, even though it was very obviously an intentional elbow to the side of the goaltender's head. Joseph Woll is the backup for the Leafs. He gave up 3 third-period goals. So some concern certainly for Toronto moving forward if their starting goaltender can't go. But they have a 1-0 series lead. Tonight, Carolina and Washington open up their Eastern Conference semifinals. And out west, Edmonton is at Vegas. In the NBA, 2 thrilling game ones last night. First out east, it was the Knicks rallying from 20 down in the second half to force overtime and beat Boston 108-105. 29 points apiece for Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby. The Celtics went 15 for 60 from behind the three-point arc. The 45 missed three-pointers are a playoff record. We have talked about the Celtics over the years in the playoff roundup and referred to them having what we call bozo mode. That was peak bozo mode Celtics.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just keep shooting threes. Eventually they'll start to go in. Man, some nights they don't go in. Some nights they just don't go in.
Yeah, I get sticking to what you do and what you do well. I understand that. But this isn't like football where, like, you only install the certain number of plays. Like, hey, drive. Shoot it from the lane. That's just something Joe Mazzulla can yell from the bench. When you lose the way they lost, and what was the final score?
108-105.
Dude, go take 2 more twos and you win the game. Like that would be aggravating.
Understand that you have a 20-point lead and you don't need to keep jacking up threes. Get into the paint, get to the free throw line, see it through.
Burn the shot clock, run some clock, run the damn ball, huddle up. Yeah, no, I'm with you. That was brutal.
If you watched the Warriors in the 2010s and you thought, man, I really love this style of basketball, but I wish it weren't any fun and none of the players were likable, you love the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I just don't find them interesting.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Yeah.
But I'm not
just
gripped.
Bland. Just such a bland basketball team. They're really good. They might win the title, but they don't move me. Like, no. The Warriors move people. Like, you feel a type of way about Steph. You feel a type of way about Draymond. Everybody feels the same type of way about Draymond. You felt a way about Clay, and you felt a way about when they signed Durant. Like, you felt something about the Warriors. Nobody feels anything about the Boston Celtics except people from Southie. Like, nobody cares about those guys, and nobody should care about those guys. They're dreadfully uninteresting. Jason Tatum, is the least interesting great player in the NBA. Just a dud of a personality who's not even really fun to watch play. He's a jab step merchant who shoots too many threes.
He is a great player, though. He's really good. Anyway,
that was a mere appetizer for the nightcap that saw the Denver Nuggets storm back from 14 down, 11 down with 4:30 to play to shock the Oklahoma City Thunder 121-119. Aaron Gordon knocking down a 3 with 2 seconds to play after Chet Holmgren missed a pair of free throws. 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 6 assists for Nikola Jokic in the win for the Nuggets. The 3 best regular season teams in the NBA have all fallen behind 1-0, losing home games to start their semifinal series. I'm going to talk reckless about Oklahoma City for a second. I can't help myself. We probably, by like math suggests, geography suggests, we got some Thunder fans maybe listening. SGA's verifiably a good player, even though his nickname should be FTA because his whole game is shooting free throws. But a great player, and he's going to win MVP. And I wouldn't get my vote, but he's deserving of an MVP in a world where Nikola Jokic didn't exist. Very, very good player. I don't know that Oklahoma City has other good players. Like, Jalen Williams is the fakest all-star I've ever seen. He was 5 of 20 from the field last night. Aaron Gordon had him in hell. I don't know that he's actually good at basketball. Chet Holmgren, absolutely not good at basketball. Just tall.
This is reckless.
Everybody wants to say, Chet Holmgren's the American Wemby. No, what he is great value Kristaps Porzingis. And he's got a dumbass haircut. Did Chet Holmgren walk into a barber and say, hey, give me the butt head?
He may have.
Maybe.
I can't confirm nor deny.
He's got zero charisma. His commercials suck. He's got a stupid face. And I'm so glad it was him that missed those 2 free throws. Chet Holmgren, certified bum, not good at basketball. I'm starting to think Denver can win this series, by the way, if you haven't noticed. I'm starting to think the Nuggets can maybe do this. All it took was one game.
Yeah, we're going from reckless into self-destructive here, but I appreciate the optimism and the energy behind it. That's good. That's the way it should be.
Tonight, Cleveland, one of those other three best regular season teams that lost game one at home, tries to even their series against the Pacers. Game one of the final semifinal to begin is tonight, Minnesota hosting Golden State. That's the playoff roundup. When we come back, there's a mascot Hall of Fame. And if you know anything about 580 Sports Talk, that we love a Hall of Fame debate. That's coming up next on 580 Sports Talk. Brendan, you brought to my attention yesterday, 580 Sports Talk, by the way, 534 on this Tuesday, that there is a mascot Hall of Fame and a ballot is out. And
correct.
Yes. So there are a lot of nominees for the mascot Hall of Fame.
Many nominees.
28 of them, in fact. And how many get in out of the 28?
So 2 to 4 get in every year. They have a whole FAQ about this. MascotHallOfFame.com. The public gets half the vote.
Okay.
And voting opens on May 11th through May 24th. So it's open for 2 weeks. Essentially, it comes down to you have to get over 60% of the vote. And if no one clears 60%, they just take the top 2 vote getters. And if 4 or more get over 60%, they take the top 4. So it's always between 2 and 4 every single year.
Current Mascot Hall of Fame inductees include both of the mascots from the major sports in Kansas City. Slugger and KC Wolf are both in the Mascot Hall of Fame. The famous chicken is in the Mascot Hall of Fame, the San Diego Chicken. Rocky the Mountain Lion, the great Denver Nuggets mascot, is in the Hall of Fame. My favorite amorphous blob mascots from college sports, Big Red for Western Kentucky and Otto the Orange, are both in the Mascot Hall of Fame.
See, I hate Otto. He puts his arms inside his body and spins it around. Oh, try hard.
It rocks.
Get out of here.
The Philly Fanatic is in the Mascot Hall of Fame.
My guy Benny the Bull's in there.
Benny the Bull.
The Gorilla. from the Suns.
Yuppie,
legend.
The former Expos mascot. Yuppie. Little Red, the Nebraska inflatable mascot, is for some reason in the Hall of Fame. The Phoenix Gorilla, iconic. So yes, it's a good crop that's already in the Mascot Hall of Fame, but still definitely some cracks that need filled out, as proven by this year's list of nominees.
Yes, so we've got a bunch here, and this is not. There's some good ones on here. There are also some that I'm telling you, no, there's no need for this. All right, so let's go down the list. We'll go quickly here. Albert Gator from Florida, he's on the list. Bernie Brewer of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Come on. I got to get Bernie Brewer. He's got to slide.
Big Al from Alabama, the elephant. Blitz, Seattle Seahawks.
Sure.
Boomer from Oklahoma. No word on Sooner if he gets to also join him in the Hall of Fame.
Boomer high-fives me at a Big 12 Media Days one year. Put him in.
Oh, that's a good vote for him. Cocky from South Carolina. Cocky the Gamecock. He is also a bird with shoes. Notable. Cosmo Cougar from BYU. I can't believe he's not already in.
Cosmo Cougar is, I believe, like, from an athleticism perspective, the best mascot, maybe in all of Division I.
I love Cosmo Cougar. Fred Bird of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Whack, boo.
Goldie Gopher, Minnesota. Harvey the Hound of the Calgary Flames. Homer the Dragon of the Charlotte Knights.
Harvey the Hound got his tongue ripped out by, I think, a coach. During a game once.
Dear.
Fake dog.
Yes.
Had its like red tongue hanging out. And, like it was hanging like over the board. Somebody ripped out his tongue. It was terribly sad.
Hornsby of the Tulsa Drillers, I assume named for Rogers Hornsby.
Yeah.
Hugo the Hornet of the Charlotte Hornets. Loco, the mascot of the Altoona Curve minor league team.
Altoona.
Melvin of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms of the AHL. Mrs. Met. Mr. Met's already in. S.J. Sharkey of the San Jose Sharks. I do not know what he looks like. I do not know.
A shark. Well, looks like a shark.
Yes. Sebastian the Ibis, Miami.
Great mascot.
Sparty, Michigan State.
Lame.
The Stanford Tree.
Oh, love the Stanford Tree.
Stuff the Magic Dragon from the Orlando Magic.
Great name. Hall of Fame name.
Fact. The Bearcat, Cincinnati. The Leprechaun, Notre Dame.
Boo.
Or the Duck from Oregon. How is he not first ballot, first class?
So for a long time, I thought the name of the duck was Puddles. It is not named Puddles. It's just the Duck.
The Duck, yeah. Puddles is a nickname, yeah.
Puddles is much better name. Anyhow.
Pirate Parrot loves cocaine. Cocaine Hall of Fame.
Yes, I can't believe the Pirate Parrot maintains his eligibility after he was running coke out of the Three Rivers Stadium dressing room in the 80s.
Toro of the Houston Texans. No, they've been around for 23 years. Now, come on. Toro does not get in. Stop this. Wally the Green Monster of the Red Sox and Wool-E Bull of the Durham Bulls. That is your list of nominees.
So I only get to put 4 of these in the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, or as few as 2. You can put anywhere from 2 to 4 in.
Well, there are more than 2 that deserve it.
Does everybody have their list of who's getting in?
All right. I do. I have my list.
All right, Dan, you go first then. Who is getting into your class of 2025 Mascot Hall of Fame group?
Cosmo the Cougar, best athlete, incredible like moves and stunts and stuff. Yeah, Cosmo the Cougar in for me, no doubt about it. The Stanford Tree, iconic, kind of shambling looking, always up to something, lots of shenanigans. The Stanford Tree, absolutely. The Duck, wish his name were Puddles. Its name were Puddles, but the Duck, classic. Got the motorcycle thing. The Duck is a classic. And I'm gonna go a little off the board here. Harvey the Hound is adorable, and he had his tongue ripped out and lived to fight another day. Harvey the Hound, triumph over adversity. I will go with those 4.
Spencer, do you have your list?
Yes, but I'm only going 2.
Okay. Oh,
wow!
All right.
What a hater. Okay.
Only because it's so hard, and I'm just picking 2. Bernie the Brewer, dude goes down a slide. Undefeated, automatic winner.
Remember when that TV reporter tried it and broke his arm?
Yeah, I do.
And then Cosmo the Cougar.
All right, we're unanimous on Cosmo. Cosmo's got to get in.
Yeah, Cosmo rocks.
So I'm going with Cosmo the Cougar from BYU. I'm going with the Duck. Again, I can't believe the Duck's not already in. Goldie Gopher. Guys, Goldie Gopher rules.
Goldie Gopher's very good.
Big fan of Goldie the Gopher from Minnesota. He gets in. So 3 college mascots. And I'm going with the number 1 cocaine user in the group. I'm going with the Pirate Parrot. I own a Pirate Parrot baseball card.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a big wiffle bat in the picture. I'm going with the Pirate Parrot.
Wonder what was in that bat.
Yeah.
Where
was he
is
throwing
Big
something
J?
off the bat?
Yeah, a little. Where's Big J on this list? What is it going to take to get my guy on here? How do we nominate him?
I don't know how you nominate. Well, there's got to be a way to nominate.
Kansas State fans, I'm going to tell you this right now. Your mascot cannot be nominated because it sucks. I have no beef with the name Wildcats. I have no beef with the color purple or silver or whatever uniforms you want to wear. I love the lavender. I love the two-tone basketball uniforms. The fan base is passionate. I respect you guys. All of that. Your mascot sucks. Put on a real costume. Stop cutting corners. Terrible mascot. Sorry to all you Willy heads out there, but it's bad.
Anything to add to that?
I need Slapshot in there. The Capitals mascot. 50 years of Slapshot, the mascot.
Who
Stanley Cup.
All right, so who's like missing from this list that needs to be in?
Who's missing?
Yeah, who's your pick who's
has
missing?
Not nominated but needs to be in.
Your boy Dinger's not in.
Yeah, thank God.
Your man's.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not really upset about that. To be completely honest with you.
Rocky's already in.
Yes,
Nuggets mascot.
Rocky should have been first ballot inaugural class. Unbelievable mascot. Man, I saw Nitro, the UCF Knights mascot.
Yeah.
I saw Nitro be really wonderful to a child at the Big 12 basketball media days.
Hell yeah.
And it made his day. So I will always think highly of Nitro.
Love it.
Obviously, it's the person inside of Nitro, but the person inside of Nitro did like a wonderful thing for a kid, and I happened to just notice it. So Nitro will always rank highly on my list for that.
Two quick final mascot notes from me. Number one, Jeffrey on YouTube says he likes the live animal mascots. I believe this is a Hall of Fame only for costumed mascots, but I agree. The best mascots are live animals. Ralphie, Butler Blue, Handsome Dan, Cam the Ram, live animal mascots, goats.
I also want to
literally.
I also should nominate Rufus, the Bobcat mascot for Ohio University, because one time he punched Brutus Buckeye in the face.
Yeah, I do like that. Remember when the Houston Cougar and Oregon Duck got in a fight?
Yeah, I do.
That was awesome.
That was a real fight.
Tyler mentions the Suns Gorilla. He is in. The Gorilla is in the Hall of Fame.
Suns Gorilla is in.
He is in. My other note, Tommy Hawk, the Blackhawks mascot, is in. Mascot uniforms are notoriously gross. They are sweaty and hot, and they stink inside. Tommy Hawk, especially for kids, but anyone shorter than the mascot costume, he will come up and open his beak and put it over your head. You've never smelled anything worse in your life.
No,
I know.
Horrifying.
Because I have never smelled anything worse in my life than the inside of Tommy Hawk's beak. Disgusting.
Horrifying.
That alone would have kept him out for me. He beats a drum at the games. He's kind of fun. He smells like crap.
Where's the Duke Blue Devil? He high-fived me in the bowels of the Chi Health Center in Omaha before that Duke KU Elite Eight game in 2018.
Wow, I'm glad you didn't tell me that at the time. I wouldn't have sat by you. Like, this is bad juju.
Look, man, he offered me a high five. Well, I wasn't going to leave him hanging.
He's the enemy.
I love mascots.
He was my enemy anyway.
Caller number 3 to 785-272-9429 right now. You got 2 tickets to Wednesday night's Royals White Sox game. Caller number 3, 785-272-9429. Yes, go see mascot Hall of Famer Slugger. Caller number 3, 785-272-9429. You're going to the K tomorrow night. We'll talk Royals when we come back on 580 Sports Talk. Congrats to Declan, our ticket winner.
What's up, Declan?
He's going to the Royals and the White Sox tomorrow night. We'll give away some more tickets later on this week. Red Sox are in town. That's usually a hot ticket. People want to go see the Sox.
Sox.
Middling team so far this year, hanging around 500.
I can't do a Boston accent. That was like
Kyle Yastrzemski.
That was a Philly accent.
I always liked when they had their second baseman was Mark Loretta.
Mark Loretta had some good years.
Yeah,
man.
Mark Loretta was a
good player.
Yeah, he is a solid player. Got better in his 30s, as many players tended to do in the 2000s. Wonder why that was.
He was the prototypical two-hitter for a while.
Yeah, you're always happy to have Mark Loretta. Not to be confused with another former Red Sox, Mark Bellhorn.
From 1995 through 2002, Mark Loretta had only 2 years with a wins above replacement number higher than 0.8. He was a flat 2 in 2000 and a 2.6 in 1998. Then in 2003, his first year with the Padres, suddenly he was worth 5 wins, and in 2004, he was worth 6. He then, after 2004, never again was worth even 1 full win for a season. Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Started hitting home runs. He hit 16 home runs in 2004 and with 47 doubles, slugged .495, 100 points higher than his career slug. In 2004, what else is going on in 2004 in baseball? I'm not saying.
Certain Mr. Mitchell had a report that year, I believe.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, from 1995 through 2002, he hit 31 home runs total. In 2 seasons with the Padres, he hit 29. Interesting.
Also had 16 sack flies in 2004. That led the National League. Anyhow.
Vinny Pasquantino's favorite player.
2004, Mark Loretta would be the best player on the 2025 Chicago White Sox by some distance. That White Sox lineup is stinky butt, and Seth Lugo will get his chance at them tonight as the Royals and White Sox play game 2 of their 4-game series. 3 straight quality starts for Seth Lugo. The underlying numbers, the data heads will look at Lugo's start to this season and say, hey, this isn't great. There's some concerning underlying trends going on. But if there's a pitcher, I think, built to outperform his peripherals because he can induce some weak contact, because he throws 28 different pitches, including some I didn't know existed, it would be Seth Lugo. Like, he is fully into I think he's embracing the crafty righty portion of his career now.
Yes.
Still got a little bit of strikeout ability. It's not like that's completely fallen off the face of the earth, but he is definitely transitioning to a point in his career where he's going to be a bit of a junk baller. And I think he can be effective at it. He knows how to pitch.
Yeah, professional pitcher, Seth Lugo. That's essentially, what he is and what he's been. And yeah, the underlying numbers are not great. In fact, some of them, again, for people who are into that kind of thing, would tell you that's actually quite concerning. But the production is there. And is that always going to continue? Who's to say? It's only May 6th. But you know what's very valuable to have for a pitcher like that who's going to beat you by throwing junk? Essentially, when you've got a 10-pitch arsenal, you can kind of get away with that. You can throw a bunch of different stuff, and you're going to keep guys off balance. Maybe not because any of it is elite. His breaking ball is elite. But just because, hey, this dude throws a sweeper and a regular curveball and a slider and 3 different fastballs. Like, he just throws so many things that it keeps you off balance. It also is really helpful to have an elite defense behind you. And you've got a truly elite defensive shortstop. Maikel Garcia is good with the glove. Vinny's been good with the glove at first. Kyle Isbell is obviously a plus outfielder in center as well. He's got good range, all of that. And again, the production is there, even if the underlying stuff is a little bit concerning. 3 consecutive quality starts for Seth Lugo, looking for a 4th straight tonight. In those last 3 games, 20 2/3 innings pitched, so over 6 innings per start. Well, almost 7 per start. 5 earned runs total, 18 strikeouts. So he's not striking out a ton of dudes, but more than enough.
And it follows the trend of last year where he started slow in the strikeout department, but started to pick it up as the season went on. Shout out to the 785 texter who brought up Bruce Chen as a junk baller. Definitely the crafty lefty archetype, Bruce Chen.
Yeah, who's your favorite crafty lefty? I'm going to go Paul Bird.
Tom Glavine.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I mean, he was maybe too good.
Yeah, I would say Tom Glavine was like actually good and didn't need a qualifier.
Jeff Francis.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
The lineup backing Lugo tonight. Jonathan India is at third base. Thank God. God, he made a mess of left field last night. Bobby Witt Jr. at short. Vinny Pasquantino at first. Salvi's DHing again. Maikel Garcia is at second base tonight, batting fifth. Okay. Kevin Biggio into the lineup in right field, batting sixth. Drew Waters in left field, batting seventh. Freddie Fermin does the catching. Kyle Isbell is in center field. The lineup that Lugo will face in support of White Sox right-hander Sean Burke. Chase Mydroth at short. Miguel Vargas at third. Matt Tice is the DH. Rookie catcher Edgar Quero bats fourth.
I believe it's Quero.
It is Quero. Andrew Vaughn batting fifth at first base. Josh Palacios in right field. One of the Baldwin. Brooks.
Alec?
No. Brooks, Baldwin in left field. Josh
Steven?
Rojas at second base. Royal great Michael A. Taylor in center field. We'll take a break.
Michael A.
With the final word after this. Final word time on 580 Sports Talk as we wind down this Tuesday edition of the show. Brendan Dworzinski, you go first.
Cole Ragans deserves to be in the conversation with the Tark Skubals and the Paul Skeens and the like as among the very best pitchers in all of baseball, starting pitchers in all of baseball. And look, if you want to take those other two dudes I just mentioned ahead of him, I got no problem with that. I would too, frankly. But Cole Ragans should be in the conversation. He should be considered in that top group, or certainly no worse than maybe a half tier below where those two guys are. He overpowers you. He's got the velocity. He's got the stuff. He pitches with confidence. I know he only went 5 innings against the White Sox yesterday, but 11 strikeouts in 5 innings, guys, pretty dang good. He's a stud, and I hope more of Major League Baseball starts to take notice sooner rather than later.
Spencer Dupuis, give me your final word.
Yeah, Seth Lugo gets the ball tonight. I'm excited for his start, and my Nationals are helping the Royals tonight, or they did earlier, and they could do so again. They beat Cleveland, got the doubleheader, I believe, starting right about now. So hopefully the Royals come out with 21 wins and lead the division after tonight.
Final word for me, if you had asked me to put a percentage on the chances that Jack Caglione would make his Major League debut in 2025 back in March, even after an impressive showing in spring training, I would have still probably put it at 0%. It didn't feel like there was any benefit in the Royals rushing Caglione, even though he does have a special ability to hit for power. And I figured the Royals would figure something out in the outfield that would be playable and would be able to help their lineup. Well, they haven't really. There's still a void to be filled in the corner outfield for the Royals, and Caglione's devastating Double-A pitching, including a 2-home run game today. His OPS is over 1,000 in his first 28 Double-A games. I don't know yet what that percentage is for Caglione to make his debut, but I'm telling you right now, it is definitely greater than 0. Royals baseball is coming up next, 6:40 first pitch. Pregame coming up right at the stroke of 6 o'clock. We'll be back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Brendan Dworzynski and Spencer Dupuis, I'm Dan Lucero. This was 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW. Good night.